Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional. Strap in. The show starts right now.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I am Mike. That is Evo. He's rocking the pink cat. We're these two beautiful sons of bitches right above my head. Or, nope, top right corner of the screen. You
got it right.
It is a great day. We had our first baseball game this morning. It was a success. Very excited for that. We got football playoffs coming up next weekend for the boys and a baseball game. So I'm super busy with youth sports. But, man, it's been another fucking wild week in the NFL. We got more baseball stuff. NBA playoffs are getting ready to kick off. I'm currently getting over a sickness, so if you can hear the little raspiness here in the voice, this is not me trying to do my Barry White impression. This is just getting over a little illness. But, man, I'm ready for a day. How you doing, big guy?
I'm doing good, man. Hydrating, like we were talking a little beforehand. Played a little bit of golf earlier today. Had some drinks out there in the nice Arizona heat. It's actually getting nice out now. It was mid to high 70s, light breeze. Sun was out. It was a nice day for golf. I played like absolute dog shit, but it was nice to get out there. So now I got to hydrate a little bit more. Not have any of the hard liquors like we did last go around. But I'm having a good day so far.
Yeah, so we got a little tore up last time, so I'm going to do a little bit of drinking. I have not had anything to drink yet today, but I am going to, give the people the Lineman Lounge beverage of the week. Once again, if you guys are unaware, so I got a bunch of random liquor and shit that was, given to me and producer Amber by our friends as we were getting ready to move out of the house. So now I got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with it. Most of the stuff I can't just fucking drink, like a whiskey or a scotch. So I got to figure out ways to church it up. So let's get this thing going right now, and I'll kind of tell you guys what I'm going through as I pull this shit out.
Awesome. So, like Mike said, we got a lot of stuff to go over today. NBA playoffs are about to start. We've got baseball opening day just around the corner. We've got our NFL talk that we've been continuing to go with. We're going to be going over linebackers and defensive backs today, along with the rest of the happenings throughout the NFL offseason over this past week, because there still has been more trades. There's still been more moves, more stuff going on. So it should be a pretty interesting show for y'all.
Yeah, tons of trades, tons of move. I'm very excited to get into the NFL stuff. But we're going to hit on some baseball. We got some NBA stuff I want to talk about. We're going to talk about the youth sports. But first, we're going to get into the Lineman Lounge beverage of the week. And then a little bit of personal news from myself before we start diving into this shit. So what I have here, I got some Deep Eddy lemon-flavored vodka. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with this. So it's going to go into some sort of weird concoction of a mixed beverage. So, crack this bad boy open. Give her a stiff little pour, but not crazy. Not crazy, right?
2 shots of vodka.
Then our friends also gave us this. So there's no alcohol in this. So this is just an Appletini mix. Who the fuck just has Appletini mix lying around?
Bobber Goblin.
I'm not.
He's an Appletini type of guy.
I'm not a 45-year-old woman who drives a moderately priced mid-size SUV. I'm not drinking Appletinis, but I'm gonna use it for this beverage. So I got a little lemon vodka, little Appletini mix. We'll go about right there.
2 shots.
But so for me, I always like to have most of my beverages with a little bit of like a seltzer, a little bit of carbonation. Give
some
it a nice
carbonation in that bitch, a little bubble.
Nice little flavor, right? Well, what the fuck goes with these two things? Well, I'm a big ranch water guy, This is the Topo Chico Ranch water, which if you're not sure of what Topo Chico is, it's a hard seltzer. It's agave and lime juice. So it goes perfectly with these two other fucking things I got on hand.
Kind of the citrus and fruit realm.
A little citrus and fruit. Once again, this is going to be another one of those beverages that's very refreshing. Okay. Oh, that's pretty good.
Now, if it
Alright,
wasn't good, were you actually going to be like, "This is the Lyman Lounge drink of the week, and it sucks dick"?
Absolutely. So if I ever do one of these things where I have to mix a bunch of random shit together and it sucks ass, I will absolutely tell you, don't make it.
Okay.
But this is pretty good. It's very sweet. That Appletini shit is very pronounced. This lemon vodka also has quite a bit of flavor. Ranch waters I love ranch waters regardless. I'll drink a ranch. That's actually what I got in the cooler, some fucking ranch waters, because these are one of my favorite things to drink. But we're going to call this the Lyman Lounge Ranchaltini.
Oh, alrighty. Ranchaltini. Mark it down.
So it's not bad. I would not drink this on a normal basis, but I've made way worse drinks, and
It's
this
a-
one
it's
I
a
don't
light-
feel like is gonna.
Light, refreshing Saturday afternoon drink.
Exactly. When you've been out all morning in the goddamn Arizona sun coaching baseball, that's kind of what you need.
Now, I looked up, just because I was curious, this lemon vodka, different things to do with it. And mostly it's just lemon vodka cocktails, lemon drop martinis, things like that.
Right.
Some strawberry lemonade cocktails and things like that.
I mean, some lemonade would have been good there for sure.
But the Appletini, I mean, if you ain't digging that, just send that off to Bobbert Goblin, because we know that he likes to go pinky out. He likes those girly drinks.
So I have had an Appletini before, but it was the location where we were in where we kind of had to. I was stationed in Alaska. Producer Amber, who was still girlfriend Amber at the time, came up to visit, and we went to an ice bar where the whole fucking place was made out of ice. Your glass was made out of ice, and they would serve you Appletinis out of ice glasses. That was kind of their signature thing. So obviously I'm like, okay, I got to do the signature thing. Hopped in there, had my Appletini. Producer Amber did not like hers, downed hers as well, just to make sure we were not wasting. But that's the only time I've had an Appletini other than this mix that I got now. That's a very distinct, like, hey, by the way, here's a fuck ton of apple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look, I like apple drinks. I do. So I could probably get down with an Appletini, but that sounds like gut rot city after one.
Yeah, it's
A little
it's
too
very
sweet.
It's
Yep.
very, very sweet right now.
Alrighty, so like you said, you got some more personal news to go over. Real quick, you did mention Pink Hat again. For those
Yes,
that didn't
I
see
did.
last week's episode, this is me rocking the merch for our boy. $20 is $20. Our boy David from work, he's live streams gaming on his $20 is $20 channel on Twitch. He also puts up clips from that on YouTube. We really want to support his channel. He's putting in a lot of work to try to get that thing going and grow. He's pushing more money into the brand and everything, so really want to support him. Like I said, he's got merch coming out. You can hit him up on his Twitch stream. He streams pretty much every day around the noon time frame. And then also he's got that YouTube channel, so he'll be very responsive if you hit him up and want to get some of that merch, just want to support his stream. Stop by, give him a view. We would like you to support him, because we love helping out the No Sleeves Network.
Absolutely, baby.
As I'm sleeved over here.
That's all right. I don't know how you're rocking a fucking hoodie right now. It is hot as shit outside.
I had to crank the AC in my house, and so it was a little spicy in here when I got home, and so now I'm feeling comfortable. I'm not wearing any pants. I'm completely nude from the waist down, so don't let me stand up.
All right, good. I like that. It's little personal news. I don't want to get too sidetracked on your bare ass, even though I got to see that before the show started.
The moon is out, baby.
Yeah. So the show has obviously been going through a ton of changes, right? I've had a different setup for the last 4-5 weeks now, almost.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in that range, and it's all because we're selling our house, and we're going to be making a move. The Lineman Lounge, at least my half of the Lineman Lounge, is going to be on its way out to the Cleveland, Ohio area. I've accepted a job out in Menor, Ohio.
Deshaun Watson's masseuse?
Is she from Menor?
No, I'm just asking, are you going to be Deshaun Watson's masseuse or his hookup?
Not. No, I mean, it would not. No, nope, not gonna.
I mean, he's going to Cleveland. You're going to Cleveland. It seems like a match made in heaven. You can keep him on the straight and narrow while making sure that those muscles are and everything, like especially that pork log muscle.
Yeah.
That's all taken care of.
I'm not massaging Deshaun's salami for him like he had 22 different massage therapists do.
The meat missile needs it sometimes.
Sometimes
and if you, as a Cleveland fan, if you're able to keep him on the straight and narrow, you're Super Bowl bound, baby. Maybe you might even get a ring.
Don't fucking do that. Don't get me riled up already this early in the show. Don't do that. We are not a Super Bowl contending team yet. We have no idea when he's playing. We still need a lot of fucking pieces. But we're going to talk about some of that stuff when we get to the NFL.
All right. Sorry to interrupt your news. I just had to. I thought that might be the job.
It is not. I'm going to do a job that I have absolutely no idea how to do. I've never done this in my entire life. Now, I'm around aircraft all the time with our job in UAS. But they're going to put me in. They're going to let me be responsible for doing inspections on components that go in turbine engines that passenger jets fly around. So that'll be fun. If Delta crashes, it wasn't my fault. But yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm going to learn something new. Get out there, get in the Menor area. So Menor's not a bad little town. I think we're trying to buy a house in that area as well, so I don't got to make a long trek to work. It's only 25 minutes from downtown Cleveland, which puts me right there at the heart of the city. I can get into town very quick and go catch games. Hopefully we'll do some live stuff from the Muni lot at some point when the Browns are playing. That'd be super, super cool. I've gotten really efficient at tearing this down and putting it all the fuck back up at this point. But yeah, I'm excited to get out there, man. The kids are mostly excited. Graydon's going to miss his teammates, miss his friends here. But producer Amber is pumped to go. I'm pumped to go. And yeah. So the people in Cleveland are gonna start getting a lot more of this thickness just all up in your business.
Who doesn't want that? They should be paying you to move there specifically for that. The city of Cleveland, that is.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the company is actually paying me to move there, so that's
perfect. But
yeah.
they like the city of Cleveland should be forking over something and possibly putting you up in a mansion.
Listen, I don't need LeBron's old house. Just the one next door is fine. Okay, I'm not greedy. I'll basically just give me a big ass loft apartment, directly overseeing, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Guardians Stadium. Even though there won't be anybody there, I could probably just walk in for free because they are not doing anything.
If you get the house next to LeBron's old house, I'm sure that you will have great amenities like a hospital close by because that boy is always having to go see doctors because he's injured constantly.
Hurt now. I mean,
so
the guy spends a lot of money on his body, and understandably so. But the knee ailments, the ankle, all the things, or his teammates are really bad. We're gonna talk a little bit about the NBA today. And how the Lakers are probably not going to make the fucking playoffs with all the people that they've brought in, and they thought they were going to have a chance to make a run, and they're absolutely not going to. But so that's my personal news. We got the Lineman Lounge beverage of the week. Quick, we'll get into the U Sports. The Maroon Diamondbacks for the AAA majors. I don't fucking remember what division we're in. Most of our kids are 9 and 10. We went out and got a big dub today. It was a very, 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 very tough day. As a coach, as a parent, Mama Carlisle, my mother, was attending the game, and she was back there cussing up a storm, yelling at the umpire because he just could not figure out a strike zone. It was very tough. But we did get a win. First 2 innings, our pitcher pitched great, even though most of his strikes that were thrown right down the middle were not called strikes. We get out, they score no runs. We get to the 3rd, we get 1. Next inning, we got to switch out pitchers because pitch count is crazy high because, well, the umpire was fucking terrible. He made Angel Hernandez look like the greatest umpire of all time. They scored 5 runs. We come back, bottom half that inning. We score 5. Next inning, the other team goes out. They score 5. So we have got to score 5 to win because time was up. We play 6 innings or an hour and 45 minutes. Well, we score 5 runs, win the game, and we win it in a weird-ass fashion. So we get a walk. So no, there's a guy on 3rd, nobody on 1st and 2nd, 1 out. The tying run is on 3rd, so kid walks. I tell him to hustle down. I'm the first base coach, and as he's coming down, I see that they're kind of lollygagging. I'm like, all right, go ahead, make a turn and look, and they're still not moving. Fuck it, go. Take 2nd on a walk. I'm hoping that they throw it down, right? That way, if they throw it down, we score at least, at a minimum, the tying run because these kids are 9 and 10. They're not making bullet throws. They throw it down. Second baseman absolutely misses the ball entirely. Runner at 3rd scores, and the kid that just walked goes all the way around to score, and we win the game. Wild turn of events. A walk scores and wins the game. So, I mean, but that's Little League baseball at this point.
Yep. That's baseball, baby.
Yep. All right. I don't know. Were we having some connection issues? It seemed like we were cutting out a little bit there.
Not that I noticed.
Okay. Maybe it might just be on my end. So.
Not sure. Alrighty, man.
In this room. I'm going to turn on the fan real quick.
Lose the tarp.
Going tarps off. Listen, the thickness is not ready yet. I'm still thick in the wrong spots.
All right. Well, with that, I think we're going to get into some professional sports. So we'll just jump straight into Major League Baseball. So Major League Baseball is that opening day is right around the corner, right, Mike?
It is. Opening day is very quickly approaching. And there is a ton of shit that is going to affect a lot of teams. What the hell day did I say that opening day was? The 12th? Or the 7th. 12th is when the NBA playoffs start. Yeah, so Thursday.
Thursday the 7th.
The 7th is Major League Baseball's opening day. They're going to play 162 games. I'm very excited for that. The Cleveland Guardians are going to be goddamn terrible because they refuse to sign anybody. They signed their own guy today. Emmanuel Clase has been signed to a 5-year, $20 million deal. He is a young kid who was lights out for us last year. Throws a 100-mile-an-hour cutter, which is insane to me how much movement he gets on a pitch he's throwing that fucking hard. So I'm very excited we're keeping him. But this is kind of the MO of the now Guardians is we got to sign guys before they know how much they're worth. So 5 years, $20 million. I mean, I'm not a mathematician or anything, but $4 million a year for a guy who is an up-and-comer as a closer in Major League Baseball is incredibly cheap. Like, wildly underpaid if he continues to build on what he did last year. But we also keep seeing reports that the Guardians are trying to extend Jose Ramirez, perennial MVP candidate, but they are so goddamn far apart on money, and it does not look like there's going to be another deal that gets done. So they're probably going to start fielding offers for him. We have added nobody in free agency. It's a goddamn clusterfuck for the Guardians, and I'm not super happy about it. Other than the fact that when I get there, these tickets are going to be cheap as fuck because they are just going to need to put people in the goddamn stands. Otherwise, the Dolans, who are already cheap, are going to continue to lose massive amounts of money. But outside of the Guardian stuff, which is my own kind of thing, there's a ton of other stuff that's going on. Craig Kimbrell just got traded from the White Sox. Jacob deGrom, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and like just an all-around like good dude, is having issues. He's dealing with a stress reaction, in his shoulder. Now, for you non-baseball people, like what the fuck is that? So obviously, baseball players and pitchers especially go through a ton of stress and put their bodies through a ton of wear and tear in that shoulder elbow region, and he is going to be sidelined for a very long time with this stress reaction. So his shoulder is just really not reacting and being okay with the demands that are being put on him.
What ESPN has here is that it's the scapula or the shoulder blade is a vital bone in the pitching process. Stress reactions, which are injuries to bones typically brought on by repeated movements, are rare in pitchers' shoulders, affecting that scapula area, and typically that stress reaction is healed only through rest. So he's just going to be sitting.
Yeah, so like he's been putting his body through a ton of work, and it's not reacting the way you want it to. So now he's got to fucking sit, and he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And the hits just keep coming if you're a fucking Mets fan, because now Max Scherzer is also out. He's sidelined with hamstring tightness. Mm-hmm. These are your two top of the line. That's fucking 1 and 2 in your rotation. Mets just went out and spent a ton of money again. They've spent a ton of money on Lindor after trading away prospects. They spent a ton of money on DeGrom and Scherzer, and the Mets don't want to be the laughingstock of New York baseball. But this is the same old Mets. This sounds like we're talking about the Jets and the fucking Giants when we're talking about the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, look, I thought the Mets were putting together a real good squad this year, and with these hits, I mean, so DeGrom, he's not going to throw for 4 weeks. He has this tightness, starting to feel this tightness on Thursday. They did an MRI, figured out what was going on. He's going to be benched 4 weeks, no throwing, and then they're going to reevaluate. So that's not even like, it's 4 weeks minimum that he's going to be out, but that's not even really the minimum. It's going to be 4 weeks, and then he's got to work back into shape to be back throwing. So we're over a month that he's going to be out for sure. And then Scherzer and stuff. It's like I said, I thought they were putting together a pretty good looking squad. I thought they were going to be very competitive, and now we're going to be losing a month or more where they're going to be having some issues.
So listen, at the beginning of the season, you can kind of afford this a little bit. Pitching at the start of the season, you can make up for, because the pitchers aren't going long in games anyways. At this point, they've had a shortened spring training, so you're probably only getting 80 pitches out of these guys for the first month until you get them stretched out so they can get to 100 and start getting later into games. So right now the Mets are okay, but this is a thing that the Mets have been dealing with for so long, is all these fucking injuries and how they spend this money and they just cannot get right. And I feel bad for the Mets fans. Like, I don't have the same feeling about Mets fans that I do about Yankee fans. Like, Mets fans have been through a lot. Like, they're part of the brotherhood. It's like heartbreak is just a constant for that organization and that group of fans. So it sucks. I love Scherzer. He's one of my favorite guys to watch. DeGrom is just, I mean, I don't watch a ton of Mets baseball. DeGrom's been there his whole career. Everybody, but I mean, you can see this kid is absolutely special. He's might be the best pitcher of this generation if he can get back healthy, and that's saying a lot, because Scherzer's kind of like right in that conversation. But Scherzer's been doing it a long time. He won World Series before. I mean, and I don't want to see him out. I love watching Scherzer pitch. I liked watching him pitch for the Nationals. Didn't necessarily love the move to the Dodgers, but that wasn't his choice. He got traded. So hopefully those guys get back. Hopefully the Mets get a little healthier. And if they want, they can absolutely trade one of their fucking outfielders to the Guardians, who need help somewhere, because right now we're playing two guys that I know, really. I mean, I know everybody on the team, but Jose Ramirez is the cornerstone. He's the all-star. He's the perennial MVP guy. We got Franmil Reyes. This guy hits fucking nukes, which I love. Big fan of him. And then we just got a bunch of guys who we're hoping make the next step. Bobby Bradley at first. We've been waiting on this kid for 4 years to fucking make the jump and get up to the big leagues, and he's out of options. He's gonna be in the bigs to start because he's out of options, and we're not gonna just outright release him. Guys like fucking Yu Chang, Ahmed Rosario is a decent little piece that you can move around to the outfield or shortstop. Andres Jimenez is a kid that I don't think can fucking hit the broadside of a barn, but he's going to start at second base because he's got a fantastic glove. That's not a guy. I don't need a second baseman who has a great glove. I need a guy who can fucking hit. If I need a great glove, I put that guy at shortstop or somewhere else where I need some fucking production out of second base. This lineup is going to be really piecemealed together. Bradley Zimmer's back again for some goddamn reason. Kids still can't hit or stay healthy. One guy in the outfield I do like is Miles Straw. Very fast. Plays a ton of fucking really good defense. Needs to hit a little bit more. But if he gets on base, he'll get you a couple extra bags. I like that kid, but God, there's just so there are guys out there. We went after a Jock Peterson. We should look at a Michael Conforto. There are guys, and we're not doing it because the Guardians are not going to spend any motherfucking money because of the cheap ass owners. And I hate telling people what to do with their money, but God damn it, if you are in professional sports and your goal is not to fucking win the title every goddamn year, get the fuck out. That's the way I feel about it. I know it's a business. I get it. You want to make money.
But you ain't going to make money if you ain't competitive.
Yeah, you want to win fucking titles.
Mm-hmm.
Playoff money, baby. Let's at least get that shit.
Yeah. Look, looking at my Minnesota Twins, I'm quietly getting a little bit excited about them.
I'm getting a little more and more nervous as I keep seeing the things that the Twins are doing because we're in the same division.
Yeah, they're looking to put together a pretty good squad. They had a really solid offseason as far as the signings and stuff like that. You know, bringing in Correa, Sonny Gray, Gary Sanchez, Dylan Bundy. We have had a pretty good farm system, but we don't really keep our people. But it seems like, you know, we don't like to pay our players. Same type of thing is we try to skimp on the money aspect. So we'll develop these guys, they get good, and then they leave and do things good for other teams. But that wasn't necessarily the case with Byron Buxton for us this year. You know, I love Byron Buxton. He's fucking awesome.
I do too.
If he can stay healthy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he can stay healthy, that kid is electric.
He just signed that 7-year, $100 million extension. Now, the thing with Byron Buxton, and I don't like to completely relate it to this, but he's kind of like Carson Wentz, where the guy just will not protect himself. That's like, he won't protect himself, and that's what's causing the injuries. It's not like anything else other than him just playing ball hard as fuck. But when he's playing, he is outstanding, electric. And then, bringing in Correa and stuff like that, I really am starting to like how the team is shaping up. I don't know if we have the best depth, because we are going to see injuries, and I would have liked to have seen us go after at least one more starter or another guy for the rotation. But I kind of like how the team is shaping up, and I'll be really interested to see how we do this year. It is nice in Minnesota sports right now. I generally like what most of the teams are doing, that we're on the upward swing. The question mark is the Vikings, because we haven't made a whole bunch of splash moves or crazy, with new coach coming in and stuff like that, new GM, you kind of would expect either we're going to go for a full rebuild or something like that. But, we'll get into the football stuff later. But the Timberwolves, I think we're going to make the playoffs this year. And they've got some young talent on the team. The Twins, they're actually putting together a pretty decent squad. The Wild are one of the top teams in hockey.
Yep.
It's nice that Minnesota sports kind of is looking up. It's not always the case. So it's kind of nice to see.
What's crazy to me right now, as a Cleveland fan, so you guys are doing great, and I'm very happy for Minnesota fans. I have no ill will against Minnesota fans. Obviously, we run this podcast together, and I've become very familiar with the Twins and some of these other the Wild, and obviously I know that you're Vikings, but I pay attention more to those guys. Some of those teams I can't root for, like the Twins, because they're in the same division as my Guardians.
Yep.
I have to keep making sure I slow down before I say it.
Yep.
But this Cleveland sports base is the only team right now who we're very confident in, because we kind of know what they are, is the goddamn Cavaliers. And we haven't had that kind of feeling since LeBron was here, because nobody's very confident in the Guardians right now. Now, we got some people who are confident in the Browns, but nobody really knows what that team is with a change at quarterback. and possibly no change in the offensive scheme or some of the massive holes that team is missing. So having the Cavs be like the hot commodity in Cleveland right now is a wild fucking scenario, but I'm here for it because if this team continues to grow, they're going to be very, 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 very good.
Yeah, I feel bad about your Guardians, but maybe it's the long game or something like that. Maybe this is a sit back and rebuild type year. I don't know, or maybe we're seeing the major league movies playing out in real life to an extent. It's just, are you going to have a Charlie Sheen walk out there? You know, are you going to have?
I fucking hope so. Clase throws real hard. I'll go cut his hair for him. And we just re-signed.
You'll be there. You'll be there.
I will fucking be there. But if you guys are wondering why we're talking so much baseball, well, your boys are in a fantasy league now for fantasy baseball. Something that we don't know shit about and how to do.
And I believe the draft is tomorrow?
Tomorrow. The draft is tomorrow.
I got to do some fucking homework tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit more research. Now we know about our teams. We're gonna have to get a little bit more research and a little more in depth on some of the other guys. But that's gonna be fun. I don't know how the draft is gonna work. If both of us can get into the draft at the same time, since we're both co-owners, do we do a surprise? I guess not surprise. Do we do a little episode and bring the people in on the fantasy baseball draft?
I don't know. I think we might have to be live streaming just amongst ourselves at least, or something like that.
We might have to hop in one of these rooms so we can talk and figure out what the fuck it is we're going to do with this draft.
Yeah, because I know players, I know names, but I don't know the scoring system, stuff like that. That's one thing with fantasy football. I understand that, where you can find value players that are not necessarily starters on teams and stuff like that, but they fit into the mold of your team because of the way the scoring systems work and stuff like that. The dynamic of fantasy baseball is just not in my head. I don't understand how it works, so I have to figure out how statistically players factor in to scoring points for you and how to make that work, especially because look, in the earlier rounds, you generally get hits, you know. You're going to get guys that are going to make impacts.
Time players, and then you're going to get some Jags in the back half of the draft.
The winners and losers of a fantasy league, though, those are the guys that are able to get that value in the mid and late rounds. So, and the waiver wire and whatnot. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, I know I'm gonna have to do some research into this here very shortly.
Yeah, it's coming up very quickly. By the way, we can only make 69 waiver wire transactions throughout the year.
Giggity.
So I was very appreciative of the commissioner for making that a rule, that you can only make 69 moves. But that also means we're going to be very diligent with our goddamn moves.
That is true. All right, man.
I'm pretty sure fantasy baseball is like 25 fucking weeks.
It's the fucking baseball season. It's a long season.
162 games worth of figuring out fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Strap in, boys.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of drinking.
Yeah. All right.
You want to get into the NBA?
Yeah, let's get into the NBA. So we kind of prefaced it. We talked about our own teams. And both of them are in the same spots right now in their respective conferences. So Cavaliers are in the Eastern Conference. They are sitting as the 7th seed. The Timberwolves are in the Western Conference, and they are the 7th seed. Very similar records, 43-35 for the Cavs and 44-34 for the Timberwolves. But it's not as easy as it used to be in the NBA to make the goddamn playoffs. It's not just the top 8 teams, which is over half of the league. If you're unaware, the NBA has 30 teams, and 16 fucking teams make it. I think that kind of devalues your regular season, and you see that in ratings. But I'm not the commissioner. They at least have a good commissioner in Adam Silver, unlike Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred. There's a new aspect over the last couple of years due to goddamn COVID that is going to creep its ugly head in again, and that's the playoffs. The little play-in bracket bullshit. So right now, if you're the 7 through 10 seeds, you're in the playoffs because you're going to be in the play-in games. So the Cavs are in a play-in game. It looks like they'd be taking on the Hornets, and then you would have the Timberwolves in a play-in game going against the Spurs. Now, the play-in in the Western Conference looks like it's going to be pretty simple if you're the 7th seed because you're playing the Spurs, and the Spurs are fucking terrible. They're 32 and 45. And then you got
better
the
than the Lakers
and the Pelicans, but they are also better. They're better than the Lakers, who are outside of the play-in at 31 and 40 goddamn 6. So we talked about this very early on in the year. Like, do these moves make any goddamn sense for the Lakers?
Yep.
And both of us were like, no. I mean, neither one of us are big basketball guys. I watch a little bit more basketball than you do, but when you see the personalities, you knew the Lakers weren't going to work. Russell Wilson was never going to work.
The moves didn't seem like they were. They didn't seem like they were moving towards like, hey, we think we're a championship team. It was like, can we just bring some names on, and not even thinking about like the team chemistry or anything like that. It didn't really seem like it made sense. But now we're actually seeing for sure that it did not make sense. So I mean, everyone loves to hate on the Lakers. It's like the Yankees. People like to hate on the Yankees because, you know, the Yankees were always the class back in the 90s and early 2000s, stuff like that. Everyone likes to hate on the Lakers because they have done so well for so long. But, I mean, they ain't what they once were. And
this ain't the Showtime Lakers anymore.
They're showing that now.
This is not the Showtime Lakers. This is not a good group. This is not a good squad. LeBron James is still top 3. So last year I said LeBron James was the best player in the NBA. I don't think he's the best player anymore. I still think he's top 3 behind Giannis and KD, but he's not the guy anymore. Anthony Davis has been hurt all year. Russell Westbrook was never going to work in this organization with this group, and I shoot better than Russell Westbrook does at this point. Carmelo Anthony has played actually way better than I expected. He should have more minutes, in my opinion, because I've watched a couple Laker games because, well, I mean, we're out in the area where we're going to see a lot of them. And the team has no chemistry whatsoever. We kind of predicted that at the beginning of the year, and honestly, I'm kind of happy about it. Like, fuck the Lakers. I've always been big on fuck the Lakers, very much like the Yankees thing that you were saying. They have been so dominant, second most championships in NBA history behind the Celtics, and it's just, fuck the Lakers. I don't wish ill will upon LeBron at all. LeBron brought me a championship to Cleveland, so I will always have a very fond place in my heart. He was grew up in the same place I was born and grew up in Akron. So, I mean, I root for LeBron. But watching this team absolutely fail, it's fan-fucking-tastic in my book.
Yep.
So, but hey, it looks like our teams are going to get in, but they got to get out of this fucking play-in bullshit, which I do not like. It even further reduces the importance of the goddamn regular season.
I mean, since COVID is over, this has to be the last time that we see it, right?
Well, it was last year. Like, they weren't in the bubble last year. It was 2 years ago they were in the bubble. Then last year they kept it in the playoff bracket because they wanted to keep some continuity. And then I'm not sure if it got voted in or what the fuck's going on or why this is a thing. The NBA has said very publicly they want to get to an in-season playoff. And I think that's kind of what this is the start of. It doesn't make any goddamn sense to me.
An in-season playoff? That doesn't make sense to me in general.
Or an in-season tournament. I don't know what the fuck they're trying to do. Like, have a regular season and then have the playoffs. Listen, if
the regular season is your tournament.
I know. That's what fuck I don't get what they're trying to do.
It's your tournament to get to the fucking playoffs.
Now, what I think is happening is that the league and the commissioner are starting to realize 82 basketball games might be too many. Listen, baseball plays 162, but we don't typically hear hardened baseball people say that's too many games. That's just the way baseball's always been. It used to be 156 or 158, and then they added 162. Okay, but that's always been a super long schedule. It's always been 82 games in the NBA, but we've always, over the last decade, we've seen a lot of players talk about conserving themselves for the playoffs and game management, minute management, all of those kinds of things, and the NBA just does not get good ratings during the regular season. I think they're starting to realize that we got too many fucking games. Like, if we chop this down to 60 and it's a goddamn sprint, it might be better, but then they lose money, right? So how do we make it more exciting again? We add a in-season fucking tournament. Like, we just make some shit up and we sell that to the fans. That's the way I see this. I don't know what the hell they're doing with this.
I don't know. That, like I said, to me, your regular season is your tournament to see if you can enter the playoffs. I don't know what else an in-season tournament would do. Like, it eliminates the need for the regular season. I don't like.
Yeah, like, why are we having a regular season if that's what we're doing?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. That's, I don't know. Basketball has their issues to figure out with that.
That's okay, because the playoffs are getting ready to come up when everybody actually starts to tune into the game. Yeah. Well, maybe not the first round of the playoffs, because those are typically one-sided matchups. But round 2 and on, the NBA fucking kicks ass.
All right, man. What do you want to jump onto now?
So we got MLB, we got NBA. I mean, we're ready to dive into some storylines from the NFL before we do our breakdown of the last group of the Combine.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So last time we were here was, 26th, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me backtrack here, make sure that I got everything up to date. So ESPN stopped doing their little ticker, their tracker, on what was happening with. Jesus Christ, where the fuck am I? Give me a date. With what was happening in free agency. So we want to kind of bring you all of the news. Some of it won't be very much that we'll talk about. Some of it will be. So we said the 26th, right, was the last day we talked?
Yep.
All right, so getting to the 28th. Because that was the next time anything happened. We'll start in the morning. So the Ravens were very confident they could sign a linebacker, Bobby Wagner. Guess what? That didn't happen. We'll get to that in a minute. Cardinals did make a signing, though. Cardinals go out and sign Will Hernandez. In my opinion, doesn't need to be talked about much. Will Hernandez fucking sucks. He's so bad. I don't know if you have seen this kid play. He's PFF terrible. I think second most sacks allowed last year. And I think, like, top 10 most penalized.
Yeah, look, I really liked Will Hernandez a lot. I was very upset that the Vikings didn't draft him.
Are you super happy they didn't now?
Yes and no. See, I don't know.
Maybe he needs a new scheme change or something.
That's the thing, is that he was a extremely schematically book-ended offensive lineman, which isn't always a great thing. And I wanted him for my Vikings, and he didn't fit our scheme. That's the only reason why I was okay with us not going after him. But we were in such a bad spot with our offensive line that I was like, go out and get him, because he's got to be better than what we have now. And, for a couple years, he still doesn't really fit our scheme. I don't know that he fit that Giants scheme too well. He was that big, mauling, very large guard, very strong, but maybe he wasn't a fit for this system. I don't know. I don't know that he'll be a fit for the Cardinal system, but that Giants team overall just has not been great since he's been there. And maybe that's coaching and whatnot that led them to, not re-sign him and let him move on to the Cardinals. Maybe the Cardinals can get more out of him. He's still relatively young at being 26. He obviously has the physical skills that he had when he went into the draft.
Oh, he's a big fucking boy.
Yeah,
big boy.
It's just maybe they can get something out of him, but not that big of a deal. Like I said, It matters more to me just because I was super invested in him in that draft process. But it sucks that he never played up to his potential, and maybe he can revitalize himself some in AZ.
Well, he doesn't move well at all. Like, he cannot move. That's
Correct.
why he's one of the most penalized guys in the NFL. That's why this is a guard we're talking about. Guard should not give up a ton of sacks, right? You're not going against premier pass rushers, especially in the NFC fucking East. Like, you're not seeing a ton of premier pass rushers from the interior, and this guy gave up the second most sacks in the NFL, tied for the second most sacks from an interior line position. That's fucking atrocious. Spicy Mike was asking me about this at work. He's like, so what do we think about Will Hernandez? It's like, I'm sorry, like, he's just not very good. Like, I thought this kid was going to be really good. I did, and it has not worked. It was a high draft pick, right? Mid first round, or
yes, yeah, mid to early first round. I want to say somewhere in the 10 range.
Like, everybody thought really highly of this guy, and sometimes it just doesn't work. The draft is a crapshoot. You're going to hear us say it all the time. I'm pretty sure next week we're trying to get a mock draft together, right? Is that next week?
But that's, after today, we'll be done with our combine stuff. And the hope was over the next 2 weeks here to get some mock drafts in with multiple people if we could.
Yeah, so I think next week it would be better to get the locals together for the mock draft. And then after that, we'll get the Cheap Seats guys and some of the other podcasts, and we'll get in and we'll do a little mock draft in that fashion.
Because the actual draft begins on April 28th.
Right, so we got a couple weeks to fill of content. So if we go next Saturday, mock draft. The 16th, we got a mock draft. The 23rd is going to be tough for me. I will be traveling. I'm going to leave on the 18th to get out to Ohio. So the 23rd is going to be very sporadic. We'll see. Hopefully we can get it in the show. I'll let you know. And then 28th, draft starts. So, but yeah, next couple weeks. So I think we'll talk to Kayla. We'll talk to Mike. We'll talk to Goose. See if we can get the Colts fans in here, and we'll get a little mock draft going. But, like, we will talk during that draft. We've talked about it 100 times. Like, the draft is a crapshoot. You have no idea what you're getting. Like, so when you can get a known commodity, I'm okay with the whole fuck the picks mentality. I thought Will Hernandez would be good. He just has not been. And the Cardinals are not – this kid's not – if he starts for them, he had better be tied to the hip of a veteran goddamn lineman who can teach him some things.
Like a Rodney Hudson?
Yes. The Rodney Hudson would be great if Rodney Hudson can stay healthy. He had a problem with that last year.
True.
So, I mean, Rodney Hudson's fantastic. Rodney Hudson's one of the least penalized offensive linemen in history. So, hopefully he can teach this kid a thing or two, even if he's not playing. But, yeah, that needs to happen.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on from that. Traquan Smith re-signs in New Orleans. I mean, okay, he's not a bad receiver, I guess. In my opinion, I think he's a 3.
Yeah.
I don't think he's much more than that, but he goes back to a place he knows. He will be back with Jameis. So Bills have decided to match the Bears offer sheet and keep restricted free agent Ryan Bates.
That was a guy the Vikings were in on too. We had an offer out for him as well. He's a rotational guy who had potential starter potential, which he would have definitely started for the Vikings at right guard. So it's nice for them for the Bills to keep him because he's still pretty young. He's 25, 26, and could be just getting into the swing of his career.
Kind of just, getting to the surface of what he can do. I mean, and the Bills signed him to a 4-year deal, so they obviously see something in this kid and wanted to keep him. They get the restricted free agent back. Good for them. Moving on, we got Solomon Thomas going to the Jets. This is another guy that I thought was going to be really, really fucking good, and just never panned out.
That's
with the Raiders.
Solomon Thomas, he was originally drafted by the 49ers. out there with Robert Saleh, and
Yep.
that's probably the connection why he's going to the Jets.
That makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Because last year he was Raiders, but he did
Yeah.
get drafted by 49ers, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Also a high draft pick out of Stanford, I believe, and
He was
he
like
just
five,
never
or he was like
never really
real
panned
fucking
out.
high.
Yeah, never really panned out into anything special.
So I remember this draft. It was between Solomon Thomas and Derek Barnett. Like, who's the number one DN coming off the board? I really liked Barnett coming out of, was it Tennessee, I want to say. Broke the sack record of Reggie White's. And I was like, man, I really like that kid. Solomon Thomas blew up, obviously, that year at Stanford. It's just one of those guys that it looked really good. It just didn't work out the way everybody had hoped. Jets get a guy, though, maybe a little reclamation project. Salah gets a guy he knows. Solomon Thomas gets a guy that he knows, and maybe they can make something happen there.
Yep.
Let's see if that popped back up. Hell yeah.
Yep.
All right, so moving on from there, the Jets re-signed their kicker, Eddie Pinheiro, but they also signed a free agent, Greg Zuerlein, last week. So there's a competition already going down in New York for that kicking spot. I mean,
That'll be electric.
yeah,
I'm sure.
Cool. I'm not a Greg the Leg guy. Like 10
They're-
years
they're-
ago.
They're both whatever.
Yeah,
Like they are average at best NFL kickers. Which, if you want to have a competition between the two of them, cool. It is what it is.
Cool. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, we told you guys last week, some of these signings here late in free agency are going to get a little bit boring. But this is actually one that I'm a little disappointed that the Browns weren't in on, and I thought a couple other teams who could be needy at receiver could have been in on as well. So Texans signed Deshaun Hamilton. He was a pick for Denver. The kid has been productive as a number 2, number 3. He just kind of got squeezed out of that receiver room. And the kid's got some talent. I think this guy could be a number 2, high-end number 3 on a lot of teams. And I don't understand the signing with the Texans unless they were just giving him the most money.
Yeah, it's awkward to go to the Texans because they don't have the best situation. I'm sure there was a lot of teams out there that would have wanted that sort of talent, production, and upside that he brings. To me, it's got to be a money thing. Also, I mean, I'm assuming a 1-year deal for him.
Let me look real quick.
Because that's something that guys will do. Like Hamilton coming from that Broncos receiving room, they have a lot of good receivers there, and if he was able to look good in that receiving room, you can kind of get lost.
Yeah. So
amongst all those receivers.
No details on the contract. Now, like,
But if you go,
he's coming off an ACL. He's coming off a torn ACL. But this is a guy who, for being a number 2, number 3 receiver, was very productive for a couple of years. And
that's if he goes to the Texans where you have Davis Mills and not a whole lot else, and you're still able to put up good production on a 1-year deal, then his market next year is going to be boosted quite a bit.
Yeah, I absolutely.
And there's not a ton of competition for him there.
No, I mean, because I'm pretty sure Texans are trading Brandon Cooks because somebody will give him a second-round pick for that. I mean, I would fucking. No, I wouldn't trade a second-round pick this year because that's all I got as a Browns.
I don't know that he's worth a second-round pick anymore. Not when you're seeing Devonte Parker.
Well, I would take Brandon Cooks over Devonte Parker. Brandon
I would
Cooks
too.
Still getting
This is actually
seasons.
We're going to get to the
seasons.
We're going to get to the Devonte Parker news here in a little bit. This conversation that I had earlier on the golf course, and apparently my opinion on him is different than most. At least from the guys I was talking to.
Okay. Were you out there with Spicy Mike and Bobber Goblin?
Yes, I was. You know what? Hell, fuck it. This is jumping a little bit, but Devonte Parker, receiver for the Miami Dolphins, was traded earlier today. Devonte and a 5th-round pick going to the New England Patriots, and the Patriots sent back a 3rd-round pick. All right, which means that Devonte was not worth a 3rd It was a
Or a
Devonte
second.
and a fifth. It was for that third round
he's-
pick. I have not been a big Devonte Parker fan. He was drafted to be a number one wide receiver. He's often injured, and he had okay seasons in Miami. Now, yeah, there's been quarterback issues there, and like I said, injury issues, but he's never, to me, stood out as a true number one wide receiver. And I think that he's even fringe as a 2.
Yeah,
at
okay,
this
so
point.
we are on the same page.
Yes.
At best, Devonte is a 2, and he is a top end 3.
And yeah, he was going to be a 3 in that lineup behind Waddle and Tyreek.
Yep.
And so look, the Patriots, they're getting another guy, and that's mostly what their receiving core is right now. All right, so Schefter was reporting that their receiving room is Devonte Parker, Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, N'Keal Harry, Ty Montgomery, Christian Wilkerson, and Malcolm Perry. Those are a lot of guys that are number 2s at best,
Yes.
but a lot of 3s.
Well, I think most of those guys are 3s. You got a couple of 2s.
Yeah, and so I was kind of surprised that the Patriots made this move. I mean, I guess getting him for a 3
Well,
and getting a
N'Keal
5th in
Harry-
return isn't bad.
N'Keal Harry's gone after this move. He's never produced there.
Yeah.
Devontae's the same type of receiver that N'Keal Harry was supposed to be.
Ty Montgomery's a gadget guy. That's the former Packer who plays that mix of running back, wide receiver, but he's not outstanding spectacular at it like Cordell Patterson or Deebo Samuels. And he's getting more towards the twilight of his career where he's not even seeing that much playing time. They're giving another okay option up there for their quarterback, but it's nothing special. And I thought it was he's not a guy that I mind being with the Miami Dolphins as my number 3. I'm happy with him as my number 3 as Miami, so I don't know why you'd move him unless
If he
they're
isn't, if you count on him as your 3, I'm good with that. I'm very good with that. Devontae's I think is a top end 3.
Yeah.
If you're shipping his ass to New England, you're expecting him to be a 1B2. I don't fucking see that at all.
And what I was getting, the feedback that I was getting today was, oh, I'm surprised it only took a third to get him. I figured it'd be a 2nd or something like that. And of course, Bobber Gobbins is like, I would have loved to have gotten him for a 3 up in Philly. And I'm like, what? I mean, to me, he's a 4th round pick guy. And even then,
That's
it's
essentially
like,
what happened.
He's not making me feel super confident about my receiver room.
No. We're on the same boat. I am not a big Devonte Parker guy, so I have a hatred for Devonte Parker because he thought he was so good that he told the Cleveland, like, don't fucking draft me, I won't play for you. Now, don't get me wrong, at the time, nobody wanted to play for Cleveland because we were dog shit. I get that, but like, you're mid at best at your position. And like, I get it. You want to make money. You want to have success. All these kids come out of the draft. Any team that drafts you, you should be fighting. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna, unless you are just otherworldly. You shouldn't be talking shit about teams, unless you have some sort of weird strategy like the Mannings. But Devonte Parker, you're not the Mannings.
It's different if you know that you're going in like the top 3 picks or something like that.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, exactly. If
You have a little bit more leverage there, but still, it's not a great look even
No.
in those top 3 picks.
No, like, you have to be a generational talent to say things like that. So I have a little bit of a
Otherwise,
disdain
you're going to get humbled real quick in the NFL.
very quickly. So I have a little bit of disdain for Devonte Parker. I'm not sad that he did not have a ton of success. He's a 3, low 2, top 3, low 2. I mean, maybe with some coaching from Bill, who is apparently everything up in New England now, the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, calling all the fucking shots. He'll play better. I just don't see it. You know who I'm not drafting, even in a late round now in fucking fantasy? That's Devonte Parker.
Yeah.
Because that offense is not going to...
Their receivers never are
No.
very productive.
It's not going to be very conducive to Devonte Parker having a lot of success.
Yeah.
All right,
but,
so we got sidetracked. We were talking about Deshaun Hamilton, who I think, honestly, I would take Deshaun over Devonte. Similar build, younger, a little more athletic than Deshaun. I just worry about the injury.
Yeah, but the ACLs, they're not what they used to be. It's a 6-month injury, and guys normally fully recover from that, so he'll be all right.
All right, moving on to the next signing. For your team, offensive lineman Jesse Davis signs a 1-year, $3 million contract with the Vikings.
Yep, so this is guard tackle, a bigger guy for a guard, but guard tackle, played down in Miami. He is I don't want to say a jag. He definitely is an option as a rotational guy. Look, our right guard, Olisa Udo, I like him. He did not play well last year. He came from a very small school, and we've developed him for about 3 years to be like a swing tackle, and I think that's his best fit is as a swing tackle, not a starter. And we used him at guard because he was better than what we had, but he obviously wasn't that great. You're getting a guy who has played guard. He's started a lot of games. He's okay, but he's not the guy that you necessarily want to be a starter. He still might be an upgrade from what we currently have. But it provides a little bit more of a solid option and at least interior depth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Jesse Davis. I don't want to give too much of a take here. You guys need help on your offensive line. This is another guy who comes in, competes in camp, and we see how it shakes out.
And we did bring in another guard that might get brought up here a little bit later, a former Minnesota State Maverick like myself. I'm a little bit more excited about that because he's a little bit younger, played a little bit more on that Colts line, but we'll see if we get into that a little bit later. We're bringing in guys to compete for that right guard spot, which I like, and they're value signings at this point.
All right, so moving on, the 49ers signed Ross Dwelly to a 1-year contract. He appeared in 60 games and had 17 starts. Tallied 40 receptions and 401 yards and 4 touchdowns. I don't know dick and shit about this guy.
Nope.
You ever heard of? Nope. All right.
Nope.
Cool.
Ready to move on.
Yep. I mean, he signed with the 49ers. They have the
Jag. He's a jag.
Jag. He's a jag. He's the best tight end in the league, depending on who you ask. At minimum, number 2 tight end in the league. That kid won't see much playing time. All right. So Falcons add a pair of players. They get Auden Tate and Quadri Olison. So I have no idea who the fuck Quadri Olison is, but I knew who Auden Tate is, wide receiver. Neither one of these are big signings. Like Auden Tate had a decent little run with the Bengals. I mean, he was helped with a fantastic receiver core there. Not bad. And this other kid, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Nope.
And I'm a big running back guy, and I don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving on. So Cam talked about the potential of, hanging out, waiting, see if anybody needs a quarterback, let's see if I can get on a championship team. Cam, that's not going to happen. Thoughts on Cam? Trying to wait for the right situation.
The right situation is going to be someone who has a quarterback go down, and they need a person that can go in and start. The problem is that there's still better options out there, not necessarily in free agency, but you've got, I'd say, 3 guys out there. I expect some movement on them, but you still have Garoppolo, you still have Baker, and realistically, you still have Colin Kaepernick. So,
yeah, no, I agree. And you left out a name that I thought was coming after those two, after Garoppolo and Baker.
Who's that?
Gardner.
I don't know that Gardner's going to get moved now.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I look, I'm still on the Gardner bandwagon, but he's with the Eagles, correct?
Yes. Still, as of now, with the Eagles.
I think
will be the last year of his deal.
Yeah, I think that he still is he'll stick with the Eagles. Someone could trade for him, but I think that people are going to be looking more towards the Garoppolos and Baker Mayfields before they go after Gardner.
Yeah, but so the only problem I have with the Baker or the Garoppolos is the contract. That's a big contract if you're going to make a trade. Like, that guy's going to be your starter if you're trading for a Garoppolo or you're trading for a Baker. Because Baker's fifth-year option, $18 million. And I'm not sure. Garoppolo's, I think, is at 25, 27-ish. So that's a decent amount of money. And if we're talking about Cam, I'm taking either one of those two over Cam right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and personally, I'm taking Gardner over Cam as well.
I would too.
I think the Eagles are, unless a trade offer comes in for Gardner, because a team is so desperate because their quarterback just went down, I think that they're going to be happy with keeping Gardner for this year, because Jalen Hurts, being a more mobile quarterback, is going to be more prone to potential injuries, and having a solid backup like a Gardner there is a smart play for them. Now, I said a smart play for them. Howie Roseman is their GM. That doesn't mean that they're going to follow suit. You know?
Howie Roseman is going to fuck this up. Like, he could. I think Howie could probably third. You were saying, right?
I'd give up a third for him.
I would give a third for him too.
He's probably a fourth-round pick, but if a team has their quarterback go down, you could probably squeeze a third.
I mean, because I feel like Gardner's stats are very similar to what Baker and what Jimmy has done. Obviously, none of those three guys are anywhere near as athletic as Cam, right? But Cam can't throw it no more. Like, Cam's shoulder is a real fucking problem. Like, he cannot do the things that Cam used to do, because Cam would either let it rip for fucking 65 down the field, or he'd take off on you. So, like, guys they had to cover deep. You had to play safeties over the top, and then he could go ahead and he could take off. But Cam can't do that anymore. He cannot throw the ball down the field like that, which takes away some of his ability to run, because you're not worried about, too high safeties. You can sit back in a fucking man coverage, or you can sit back in a fucking zone coverage. You can play a cover 3 probably, because he cannot get it down the field like that no more. And then you just let guys play underneath, and now you're stopping Cam for 2-3 yards on a run. I love Cam. When Cam came out, he was a fantastic athlete. He's an MVP. Cam's just not that guy no more, and that kind of sucks for Cam.
Yeah, I mean, it's what happens when you have that style of quarterback, that athletic running back style quarterback who also has a cannon of an arm. It's just the wear and tear is going to catch up with you. Especially, look, I mean, diet society, like, he's gone vegan, and there's
good for him.
There's some stuff about that where your body doesn't recover the same, and we saw Arian Foster go vegan and his career went down the shitter. Cam going vegan, and
eat meat, boys.
It can be healthy in some aspects, but as a professional athlete, you need that protein for recovery.
You gotta eat some fucking meat.
Yeah, so it's tough to supplement that, and at age, all of the hits and
he's
dietary stuff. Yeah. So, look, I can see Cam possibly getting on with the team here if someone's quarterback needy, but I think that there's other options and better options out there.
Yeah, I 100% agree, man. Like, it sucks for Cam. I like Cam, but yeah, he's about done. His next opportunity is going to be sitting on the goddamn couch, more than likely.
Yeah.
But that takes us to another quarterback, a guy that I absolutely chastised last year. I'm sorry. This is a different signing. This is maybe not.
What happened with Zach Wilson?
No, fuck Zach Wilson. So Jameis obviously re-signed with the Saints. This is a very weird way to write an article. But now he has a veteran backup, and Andy Dalton gets a 1-year deal, $6 million, and $3 million guaranteed. How are we feeling about Andy? Is he still a viable backup in the league?
Viable backup, sure. He's at that point where if you have to start him for a couple games, you're not happy about it, but it's not like you're tanking at that point. And that's what it is. I mean, James coming off of the injury. Your other option is Taysom Hill, who is a little bit more electric for sure, and I think that's a question between Taysom Hill and Andy Dalton, who's better. That's a more relevant conversation, but
Taysom has got to change. And I swear to God, if Taysom does the goddamn Tim Tebow thing and doesn't fucking change positions, I'm going to be so annoyed with these higher than thou fucking white quarterbacks who are athletic, who think that I'm athletic, I'm just going to play quarterback. He can't fucking throw. Go play goddamn tight end or H-back or something. He's dynamic as fuck.
He needs to, they need a gadget position. That's what he fits in. Yeah, that as a Wildcat style quarterback, cool. Now, is Andy
to see a set with him, Kamara, and Jameis all in the backfield?
Yeah, but I mean, is Kamara going to play?
Oh well, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But if you could put you could put Jameis and Taysom in the backfield at the same time. Taysom throws it well enough to, not throw multiple interceptions in a game. Well, wait. It's just I
think there's an argument to be made. Who's going to have a better possibility of winning you a game, Andy Dalton or Taysom Hill? That you could have an argument there. Over the long haul, I'm going to say Andy Dalton, but in spot starts or in substitutions, Taysom's probably better. It is what it is. I mean, it's not a big deal overall.
Yeah, Andy Dalton is going to be around the league for a while, but if we're talking about guys who've been in the league for a long time, who are just your steady, consistent backups, at this point, I'm not thinking Andy Dalton. My mind instantly goes to Colt. He is the guy I want he is the prototypical fucking give me this kid as a backup. Colt McCoy is awesome for that role.
Sure.
So, all right.
What's next? What are we getting into the coaching news?
So let me see.
We had more head coaching news happen.
So we got a couple more things. Jabril Peppers, guy that drafted the Cleveland, who I really, really liked. I was hoping actually Cleveland would make a play to sign him back because we're losing one of our safeties. Goes to New England. He's 26 years old. He's kind of one of those tweeners, linebacker, safety types. I like Jabril. I liked Jabril before we traded him to get OBJ, who was an absolute fucking catastrophe.
I'm sure you loved him in college, too.
Nah, fuck him in college. But I was a big fan when he came to the Browns. Listen, I can separate those two things.
Old Michigan Wolverine.
Yeah, he was a Michigan Wolverine. Good for him. I think he'll fit in very nicely there. Bill will know how to use him.
Yeah.
I didn't know this guy was still in the league. The Jets released...
That's always good.
Oh, that's not even the same guy. Matt Amendola. Who the fuck is Matt Amendola?
Yep.
All right, cool. I thought it was. I saw Amendola. I was like, oh, Danny. Nope. Let's see here. A lot of people talking about how they really wanted to sign Bobby Wagner and they didn't get him. But we did have a Pro Bowler retire, Malcolm Jenkins. Retires a 13-year career as a safety. He was so fucking good. This is a guy I was a big fan of.
By the way, real quick, I did do a quick search on Matt Amendola. He's Danny Amendola's brother.
Okay, I figured Amendola was not common enough to be somebody else.
And the reason why they released him is because he's a kicker. And now they've got their own little kicking competition with guys who are probably better than a Matt Amendola.
Yeah, well, listen, if he's anything like Danny, he's going to be great.
Can he catch a fucking ball?
And then he's going to break his goddamn leg because he's made of glass.
Yeah.
If he's anything like his brother. All right. So Malcolm Jenkins retired. I love Malcolm Jenkins. Pretty sure Ohio State guy. Yeah, just steady, consistent performer on a Saints defense that was really fucking good. Jaguars go out and sign defensive lineman Arden Key 1-year deal, $7 million. The Jags are starting to make quiet little moves and start to add some depth. And
Arden Key, athletic freak, and a solid defensive lineman.
yeah, I mean, this team is they're gonna be better. Even if they don't make all these moves, I think this team is better because Urban Meyer is subtracted.
Yeah. It's addition by subtraction with the Urban Meyer move, and then you're bringing in a solid head coach. You're getting in year 2 with your quarterback, who, by all accounts, should develop very well.
He should be generational.
It's a positive upward trend for the Jaguars. Nice to see for them.
Yeah, I
think they've made solid moves in this.
Low money too. Like that's not.
They've made solid value moves in this offseason. They've overpaid, some guys, but they're bringing in some solid guys. So the team's going to be better.
Drastically better than they were last year. So they'll probably win about 6 games.
I think that's their floor. I think that could be their floor.
You think 6 games is the floor?
Yeah. We'll see how the draft rolls out and whatnot for them, because they got high picks and everything. I think that they could be up to like a 9-win team.
Okay, all right. So we got them fringe.
Well, a little bullish at this point, but we'll see how it shakes out.
All right. So moving on to another signing for your boys. Pat Pete is going back to the Vikings. I like Pat Pete. Pat Pete was one of the best corners in the game. For a period of time, you could actually say that Pat Pete was the best corner in the game. Right now, I'd say his name is bigger than his production. I want to know what your take on this is.
So he was our best cornerback last year, by far. That's not saying a ton, though, because we didn't really have a whole lot in the cornerback room. That's the biggest depth issue on our whole team, cornerback. I really wanted us to bring him back. It's on a relatively friendly deal. He's an awesome veteran presence to have on the team. He's solid, albeit unspectacular. He didn't have an interception until the last game of the year. And doing an interview with him right before that last game, he was like, I haven't had an interception all year. That's what I want from this game, is I want a pick. And what did he do? He went out and got himself a pick. He's not what he once was, but he is solid, albeit unspectacular. And we need guys to play cornerback. We had nothing
a lot of them
beforehand. So, him, Cam Dantzler, we signed and I'm going to not be able to remember the guy's name, but we signed a Packers cornerback who was the number 10 slot cornerback in the league last year, according to PFF. So that's a solid signing for us. We're getting a little bit more depth there at cornerback. It still probably means that we're looking hard at cornerback in the first round, and we're going to be talking about those defensive back prospects here today. But I'm very happy with the signing. I thought it was an absolutely necessary signing. A good veteran presence, a good mentorship guy for the young cornerbacks that we're going to have, because we're going to have a young room. And he's a guy that I can still set out there and kind of forget about him. He didn't give up a ton last year. He just didn't do anything spectacular. So that's why, again, the name. He wasn't jumping off the stat sheet, but he is still a solid, very serviceable cornerback.
Yeah, so he's not Pat Pete of old. He is not going to lock down one half of your field anymore. But you can leave him over there. You can give him number 2 responsibilities, even number 1 responsibilities with some help, and he can still perform at a fairly decent level. Like, it's not a big ask. Like, we've seen some other cornerbacks get on in age, and asking these guys to cover number 1s is a tough thing. Pat Pete is still very, very athletic. This guy is a fucking freak. He returned punts and kicks early in his career. You don't have many corners that do that. At least not nowadays. He's tall, fucking long. So he's not bad. He's not the same guy he was, but still very serviceable. I still don't understand why the Cardinals got rid of him. Last year?
Yeah, contract age, all that stuff. It made sense to move on from him with that contract. If you could have brought him back on the contract that he had with the Vikings, it made sense. It was a 1 year, I believe, like $8 million deal that could have gone up to 10 mil. And it's even cheaper for us this year. So, like I said, it makes sense for the Vikings. We needed to bring someone who knows the team, knows the guys, is a good person in the community, and a phenomenal mentor for the young guys that we're going to have on this squad.
Yeah, because I would imagine you guys are going to draft a corner somewhere in this draft. Do you need to?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we need to. And that's, like I said, whether it's first round or second round, I believe we will get a cornerback in one of the first 2 rounds.
So, all right. There was one other guy you said you wanted to talk about lineman-wise that was signed with the Vikings. I do not have that here. The last one I got is the Bobby Wagner signing.
Okay.
On this chart.
Yeah. So I'll look it up here real quick, because again, it's a guy that I don't really know his name. I just know that he's a Minnesota State Mankato Maverick. Played with Adam Thielen, was buddies with Adam Thielen. Chris Reed, he was a Colts lineman, and we know that the Colts offensive line has been pretty damn good. He has started some games for them. He's been solid, unspectacular type of rotational guy. Again, it's another body to get in there and have a competition for that right guard spot. I'm very glad to bring him in. So it's nothing spectacular, but I'd rather us be doing something to at least create that competition rather than just roll out with what we had before. Because that's like our offensive line is not bad, except for center needs to get figured out and right guard needs to get figured out. So we've got competition now at right guard, and center is still a question mark.
All right. So moving into the last, I guess the last signing that I have on this list, and that's Bobby Wagner. So Bobby Wagner goes to the goddamn Rams. I was
5-year deal.
Yeah, not super pumped about this because, I really liked Bobby Wagner. I was really hoping he would come back or go to the Browns. Did not fucking happen the way I had hoped at all. But Bobby's really fucking good. They signed him to a decent deal. It's good for Bobby. It's good for the Rams. They're at $50 million.
5 year, $50 million.
Yeah. I mean, with incentives, it maxes out at $65. $10 million a year for Bobby Wagner is good fucking money. I saw people saying on like Facebook and Twitter that was too much money, and I don't know how to deal with people who are that goddamn dumb. Bobby Wagner is the best linebacker in football still. Like top 3 inside linebacker in football.
I was going to say he's probably top 5, top 3. He is getting up there in age. We've seen a drop in production, and even with that drop in production, he's still outstanding.
Is that the drop because of the entire defense around him fucking being terrible?
That probably factors in a large amount. Do I think 5 year, $50 million is too much for him? No, because there's probably outs in that contract. I think that $10 million a year right now is a bargain. 3 years into the deal, it might not be worth it because you're going to start seeing this decline more. I don't have a problem with the contract though because typically NFL contracts are 2 to 3 years. Even if it's a 5 year deal, it's a 2 to 3 year deal with outs. So the team probably is giving him this 5 year, $50 million deal with the expectation that if he continues to have this degradation in production, or if he's a body that we need to move or get rid of for some cap space issues or something like that, that can happen. If he were to play out his full 5 year, $50 million deal, I don't think he's going to be the Bobby Wagner he is right now at the end of that 5 year deal, and I don't think that he'll be worth the $10 million then.
Either, but
yeah, but no, I don't think this is overpaying for him at this point, especially not on that team, because I think that he's going to be just as electric on that team. Like, it's going to be a bump in production for sure. When you have Aaron Donald and those type of Jalen Ramsey out there, you get that many good guys on the field, it is going to cause him to have more opportunity to feast. So
this is one of the most sure tacklers that football has ever seen. Not just in the last
love his
decade.
mentality. His mentality, his aggression is great for that team.
This is a fantastic leader on a defense. He is a world-class tackler. He's always in the right goddamn position. Like, $10 million, I would have easily given up $10 million a year to sign Bobby Wagner. Mm-hmm. I said for a couple weeks ago, if I could pick one guy for Joke to play next to and learn from, It's Bobby fucking Wagner. This guy's a stud still. Like, I don't understand people are like, oh, he's old. Like, I get it. Once we get about 30 in the NFL, we're starting to hit our twilight, right? Everybody's starting to get real old. Bobby's, exactly 30 years old. Like,
Yeah.
He's not well past there. He's not 32. He's not 33. Like, the dude can still fucking ball. Like, I don't get people saying that that's too much money.
No.
I'd give up $10 million for Bobby, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But my team runs on analytics, so there's no way they were signing a 30-year-old linebacker to $10 million a year.
But I've got some other signings here. The Bucks brought back Giovanni Bernard, 1-year deal. He's going to be part of that backfield rotation with Ronald Jones and Fournette. You've got the Texans signed former Colts running back Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack is a solid running back. He's definitely a rotation guy. So that's a good signing for the Texans. But again, the Texans they love having multiple running backs in a platoon system. Mack's a great platoon running back, so good signing for them. Xavier Howard of the Dolphins got a huge deal at cornerback.
Yeah, this one actually was super cool for him, but also hurt me as a Browns fan.
Why is that?
Well, I was really hoping to get Denzel Ward back for not a ridiculous salary, like a top 10 type money.
Mm-hmm.
And this Xavier Howard contract is setting a bar that I don't know that the Browns are ready to fucking match. Like,
look, I think Xavier Howard is possibly top 3 cornerback in the league. I think he's one of the best.
So
not to trash on Denzel Ward, but I don't think that he's a top 3. I think he's very good. He's top 5, top 10, and so it's going to bump. All these salaries are bumping up. You're going to have to pay a pretty penny for Denzel Ward, but I don't think that it's going to kill you. The Howard contract is going to kill the Denzel Ward contract.
I would love to say that Denzel is top 5. I'm not sold on calling him top 5 yet because of the amount of time he misses. Now, as a strictly pure cover corner, he might be top 3 in the league and strictly playing man coverage. And as long as nothing else in football is going on, he's amazing. He's so fucking good in coverage. Jalen Ramsey, J.C. Jackson, and then Denzel Ward just straight up covering people. Fantastic. But Denzel struggles in other areas. Like, he's not great in the run. He's too slight a frame. He gets hurt. But this contract makes me worried about what he's going to ask for coming off of, rookie deal, 5th-year option. Like, he's going to be looking for big fucking money now. This deal essentially is what? $75 million.
It's a lot.
He had $39 million remaining on his 5-year deal, and then they just signed him to a new 5-year extension. Like, this money it's going to be outrageous. It's a lot of goddamn money, and it makes me worried about what's going to happen with the Browns and Denzel, because the Browns right now have a ton of cap space. We have an opportunity to open up more of it by re-signing Njoku, which we're going to fucking talk about in a minute, because that asshole had me all upset the other day. And then re-signing Denzel Ward. Like, that needs to happen to take off the 5th-year options, to get rid of the franchise tags. Like, that's what we need to see. That's what I want to see. It opens up more cap space that we'll need to make room for fucking Deshaun's contract next year.
Yep.
But that's big time money.
Yep. Some other NFL news. One of the bigger things that's happened over the last week, Bruce Arians, head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, retires kind of out of the blue. Very interesting for this to happen in March. But he steps down, retires from coaching. He's going to be going into the front office, and Todd Bowles is going to be taking over as the head coach there. Which Todd Bowles I like, and it makes sense.
I like Todd Bowles.
I was a little bit surprised that they maybe weren't going to throw Leftwich that head coaching gig, because Leftwich was seen as one of the up-and-comers and a head coaching candidate in this cycle. I thought that they might have done that, but Bowles is a solid fit. They gave Bowles a new contract to be the head coach, and again, Arians is going to be moving in the front office. And of course, this brought up a whole bunch of questions. What was Tom Brady's role in this? Did Tom Brady have a role in this? And we had those questions from last week of there's rumors of Tom Brady possibly getting traded to Miami, which we said, nah, not going to happen. And then when Arians retired, I was like, maybe there's a little more steam to the Tom Brady thing. But yeah, I've even worked myself off of that at this point. Arians came out and said basically like, hey, all these other coaches are the reason why we were as good as we were. It wasn't me. It was every other fucking guy out there.
I didn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was almost the exact words.
Yeah. So, it does make you kind of question, did Brady have any role in that? The fact that Arians is sticking with the team makes me think no, not necessarily. That Arians is just kind of ready. I mean, Arians is old. He's an old dude.
And he's had
go get him a desk
in the past.
Yeah. Go get him a desk job where he still is very heavily involved with the team, but he's able to have a lot less stress in his life and let those other coaches kind of take over and shine.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I thought it was very, very weird that this happened when it did. I thought there was a little bit of, smoke or fire going on with that smoke about Tom wanting out, going to Miami, and then there was, I mean, I like Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is a good coach. He's a very good defensive coach. They don't really need an offensive-minded coach. They have Tom Brady. I mean, so that offense will run on its own. Byron Leftwich is going to be there. Nothing's going to change there. Todd Bowles has been a head coach before, so easy.
And he did well. He did well relatively with the Jets.
Yeah, so this is a pretty smooth, easy transition. I think that this probably had a little bit to do with that relationship, though, even though nobody's going to fucking say it did. But, I mean, it was wild timing. Wild timing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the last thing that I really wanted to get into was more Colin Kaepernick news. So today, Colin Kaepernick basically threw some balls.
He had a throwing day over fucking Michigan.
Yeah. Michigan had their spring game, and during halftime, he got to put on a performance to show himself off to NFL scouts. And by all accounts, I mean, he looked good. Again, it's a guy that's not in pads.
It's a scripted fucking throwing session.
Yeah.
No pads. This is like watching a kid that you're going to draft in the combine. Everything you see at a pro day is basically bullshit. Like, you can get a couple of things, couple of reads, but you're not getting any. There's no earth-shattering information coming out about a pro day or what Colin Kaepernick did.
Yeah. Now, look, my thoughts in general on Colin Kaepernick kind of haven't changed. I think that he can probably still play. He might be better than some of the quarterbacks in the NFL. It's been a long time since he's played. But
is he top 64?
Yeah. I think that he could be.
I think he's top 64 as well. Even then.
Now, he has the size to play quarterback. He has arm talent. His decision making and stuff like that. He's mobile and everything, which is great for this. But his decision making is questionable. He's been out of the league long enough that no one knows exactly what he is. You can go out in no pads and shorts and look good. I still think that he probably is a great fit for the Seahawks. This is, I mean, there's a ton of baggage with him. That's a huge knock.
Yeah.
But if I'm Kaepernick and I really want to play again, the biggest thing that's going to hold him back is going to be contract. Because when it sounded like he was going to be able to make a comeback a couple years ago, the hang-up was he's still wanting relatively high quarterback
money.
Yeah, he's looking for starter money, and teams are like, we don't know what you are anymore, plus you carry a whole lot of baggage. Plus, when you were at the end of your time in the NFL, yet you
They
were
weren't
having
very
issues. Yeah, you were bottom half of the league starting quarterback. So, and then he says whatever he says on social media and all that stuff, just creates more of the baggage issues. If he is able to, and this sounds kind of bad because he's speaking on behalf of social justice, but if you're able to keep your mouth shut, focus on football, and you go in and you play on a deal like Cam Newton played on when he went to the Patriots, 1-year deal, and you ball out, you're going to get good money after that. You're going to find someone that wants to pay you good money. If he believes in himself, believe in yourself and go out there and play for relative nickels and dimes compared to what other quarterbacks are getting. It's not like you're not getting shitloads of money from Nike and everyone else on the side, so you're sad. Go out there, play on a $4 to $8 million deal. Prove it. Then we can get over this whole fucking thing. We can know, are you good or are you bad?
I think an Andy Dalton deal is perfect for him. Andy Dalton's a proven winner in the league, right? He's been to multiple fucking playoff appearances. He's won a playoff game. Actually, no, he didn't win a playoff. They lost every time. He was on the Bengals. I forgot. But listen, a couple years ago, even now, is Cap top 64? Yeah, Cap's probably top 64. I would take Cap over a Trevor Siemian who signed a deal in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I'd take Cap.
If Kaepernick's willing to take that sort of money.
But he won't take that kind of money. He should take it a cue from what Cam did last year. Cam is an MVP in the fucking league, and he had to take less money. It doesn't just work that way. Now, I know Cap got fucked, in my opinion. He did. We have a large group of, military people who watch the show, and people will push back on this. We have a pretty decent conservative group of people who watch the show. We got a couple liberals out there as well. I think Cap got fucked. I really do. I think that whole situation was blown way out of proportion. And then
he was blacklisted. He was definitely blacklisted in the NFL.
Absolutely, I think he was, and that sucks. Now, at the time, he was not playing at a high caliber, so you push him out because you don't want the optics. But is he still one of the best players at the time? Is he still one of the minimum best 32? Yes. Is he top 64? Yes. Is he still there? Top 64? Yeah, probably. He has to swallow his pride a little bit, and I know that's tough to say because of what he was fighting for. But if he really truly wants back in the league, I think Seattle would give him a chance if the money's right. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. And it's a shame for Cap. It's a shame for the league. Because if he gets back on the field, we move past this. This is no longer a storyline.
I think Seattle's the only option.
But you know who doesn't get paid if this is no longer a storyline? Cap. The league.
ESPN.
It's the ESPN. This is no longer mainstream. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's fucking do it. Let's see what he's got. Yeah. We just did the same goddamn thing with Tebow as a fucking tight end in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Do it.
I don't think that he has.
Dare somebody to do it. Let's just get it fucking over with. If he can play, put him on a fucking roster. Put him on a roster. If he can't fucking play, get him the fuck out. Let's call a spade a spade. Tim Tebow was not a fucking NFL player. That's what happened. He's gone. Cap, if he comes in, can't play, sorry, brother, you're gone. If you can, guess what? You're starting for the fucking Seahawks this year because nobody else is going to be able to play goddamn quarterback because everybody else up there at quarterback sucks balls.
I think that there was two potential options for him. Number one, Seattle, and that's the best option, and it still is still the best option. And I do think that it will be done. I think that he will go there this year. I think we're going to finally see it because that storyline needs to play itself out, and they need a quarterback. The second option would have been Miami before they signed Teddy Bridgewater because I think that he fits with that area of the country. I think that he would fit with that coach down there and Mike McDaniel. And the Tua situation is shaky.
That would be a really good fit, actually. Like,
Yeah,
if Cam's old Cam, that's a really good fit. Cap.
You mean Cap? Yeah.
Cam.
Yeah. So but they signed Teddy, so that's an option off the table. Now I don't think there's any other team that makes sense to me for him to go to.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Look, is he better than Jared Goff with the Lions? Yeah, that's possible. It's possible.
I don't know. That's close.
But I don't think he fits. I don't think he fits with a Dan Campbell.
No. God, no.
Yeah, I can't think of another team that really makes sense.
Dan Campbell at all. That's just those are personalities that are going to fucking butt heads from day one.
Could he go to the Giants and be better than Danny Dimes and have Dable use his mobility and size and stuff like that?
100%.
Yeah, I could see that working, but I don't think he fits in the market.
No, God, they'll eat him alive.
Yeah, don't think he fits in the market. So, like I said, I think Seattle is the best. He fits with the market. I think Pete Carroll can work with that sort of a player.
Tampa.
And they have an absolute need. Tampa, nah.
I think that's a perfect backup situation.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to be a backup.
I agree.
He wants a spot to compete.
To be a backup.
Look, this works only for Cap.
If he really wants to play, man, like that is a golden fucking situation.
No,
He's got a black
work.
Head coach. He has a black offensive coordinator. He's learning from the best. I know people are not going to want to hear those first two things I said, but it matters to Cap. It matters to the league.
No, but that's if Cap comes back, he has to go to a situation where he can start this year. Because otherwise, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for him to show that he can still play in the league.
It's setting him up for failure, though, man. Like,
it might be, or he could be electric.
He goes and balls out.
He's got DK Metcalf. He's got Tyler Lockett. He still has receiving options up there. The rest of the team is in shambles. But if he's just able to go up and show that he can be a competent quarterback, he'll get more jobs in this league. Like, he's got to go to a situation where he has the opportunity to fight and start this year.
How fucking old is Kaepernick? I gotta look at this up because he's pushing that age limit and where.
So he is 34 years old.
Okay, so he still has ball in him at 34. I thought he was a little older. I thought he was younger.
I thought he was younger.
Oh,
honestly.
really? I thought he was 36. I thought he was older.
He's had 7 years off, so that is less wear and tear. So that helps. And quarterbacks play into the older ages.
Yeah,
obviously, Tom's playing in his 40s
now. Yeah. Tom's 44.
Yeah.
Ben retired at 40. Aaron's going to play into 40. Like it can be done for sure.
Yeah. So
especially if he's still athletic. In today's NFL, it plays for sure.
Yeah.
But I want to see. I want to see him on the field because I'm tired of having this goddamn conversation. Like,
yes.
I get it. People don't like him. He's a very polarizing person. People don't like him. I'm not one of those people. People love him because of what he did, and not because of what he did on the field. I just want to see Colin Kaepernick, the football player. That's what I want to see. I'm good with your message. 100% good with the message. I want to see Colin Kaepernick, the football player. So please, Seattle, fucking sign him. Sign him instead of trading for Baker Mayfield so I can see if he's still got it. Like, please. I want the storyline to be over with. And if he balls out, then we're not having this conversation anymore. It's about, damn, Colin Kaepernick balled out today. That's what I want.
Absolutely. All right, man. So that's kind of been what's going on over the last week in the off season. But I think if you are ready, I'm ready to jump into our combine stuff, our scouting of these future NFL players.
Yes, absolutely, I am. But give me 1 second. So something happened here with my computer. I'm going to bounce out of the stream, and I will be right back in.
All right. So for everyone else, I'm going to start off. We're going to be going over the linebackers and defensive backs today for our final segment in scouting these college players. And we're going to start off with the linebackers. So if anyone's following along, we got PFF pulled up, and it's going to be following the again, like I said, the linebackers, not the edge linebackers per se, but this is more the interior guys or your prototypical 4-3 outside linebackers. And the PFF list here, going in order, is Devin Lloyd from Utah, Nakobe Dean from Georgia, Leo Chenal from Wisconsin, Brian Asamoah from Oklahoma, and Chad Muma. Yep, and Chad Muma from Wyoming.
Let's go.
So for me, those two guys, Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean, both absolutely first rounders. They're going to be going probably in the middle of the first round. Very solid linebackers. Like, I think people are sleeping on both Nakobe Dean and Devin Lloyd because I think that they both have that possibility of being not as good as Bobby Wagner, but you're talking solid interior linebackers for the next 10 years.
Okay, I mean, so I'm not going to disagree. I like your guys that you said there. This is a weird draft in my opinion for the backers. I think there's guys that were incredibly productive that we just not big names like a Channing Tindall out of Georgia, Quay Walker. Like, these are guys that hyper productive. Like, I want to see those guys do some more things. You named my dude Chad Muma. I'm super pumped about. Like, that kid is going to be so good. Now, he's not quick enough to be a sideline to sideline guy. He's not an interior guy in my position. Probably going to play somewhere out on the edge. But man, it's a interesting group for the linebackers. Who's your top guy? Who's your favorite prospect out of this group of the linebackers?
So, top linebacker to me is Devin Lloyd, followed closely by Nakobe Dean. But if we're talking about sleepers, I got two different guys in mind for that.
Okay.
You want to go over those?
I have not been able to make up my mind on who my favorite linebacker is. Like, it's Devin Lloyd is incredibly strong. Like, he's a freak athlete. Like, he's projected in every mock draft I see that he's going in the first round. Does he jump off of tape to me? I don't know. I want to see what he runs. I don't think he ran at the combine.
Not sure.
I'm pretty sure he didn't run. I want to see what he runs. He's I don't know. Utah is tough, man. Like, who watches a ton of Utah football? It's not me.
Mormons? I don't know.
I mean, well, yeah, probably the Mormons.
Mm-hmm. Look, they had a solid team last year. I did actually watch some Utah football last year.
I didn't watch much Utah football till late in the year when I thought they were possibly going to make a run, and then we had to play them. I'm pretty sure Ohio State played them in the fucking Rose Bowl. Was it Utah this year? We played some slack fucking Pac-12 team. Who the fuck was it? Nope. That was 2021. No, it was Utah. It was Ohio State versus Utah. We won 48-45. So that was not a game where this kid pops off tape to me because, well, he just fucking slung it over the yard. And, we didn't even have our top two receivers. Like, I'm interested to see what he does. I'm super high on Chad Muma. I'm a big Wyoming guy. I mean, that's where I went. That's where I graduated high school. He's not going to be a sideline to sideline guy. He's not super fast. He's incredibly strong, pretty athletic, decent vertical jump, decent fucking broad jump. He's just not super fast. Like, top 3 broad jump, top 4 vertical, number 1 in the bench, top 4 in the fucking 3 code. Like,
he's unspectacular type thing, but I think that he's that perfect field general type of guy.
Yeah.
He's a solid set it and forget it interior linebacker on your defense, and I think he'll be
I think he
top
fits
end
better
for a lot
I
of
think
time.
he fits better as a 3-4 outside linebacker, in my opinion. But
Okay.
I don't know if he's that guy. Maybe. So give me your sleepers for these linebackers. Who do you like?
All right, so one that's a little bit less of a sleeper now, especially after the combine, Troy Anderson out of Montana State.
Yeah,
Big
that
white
kid
dude.
fucking flew.
Yeah. He's a former running back and quarterback who's only played one season at linebacker. And in that season at Montana State, he has 67 stops. I think that with more time and coaching at the position, that he'll be a really solid outside linebacker. I see him kind of, because he's a bigger guy. I believe he's like 6'4". He could be in the mold of like an Anthony Barr, who had the same kind of trajectory, where Anthony Barr came into college as a running back, converted to linebacker, and really jumped off the tape as an edge rushing type of linebacker. But the guy, with his speed and whatnot, and some actual good coaching at the position, time at the position, I think that he could be a very solid outside linebacker. And he's actually kind of moved up boards, especially after his performance at the combine.
Well, so you're talking about his size. He is 6'3.5", 243, and he ran a fucking 4.43. Sorry, 4.42. That kid was flying. He's a pretty big boy. And now, obviously, I worry about the level of competition.
Sure.
So,
And he
there
actually
are
looks like he can pack some more muscle on that frame.
Yeah, so there are certain positions where I don't worry about the level of competition. Interior defensive line, interior offensive line, maybe a little bit out of the tackle spot. I think most of those D2 guys project more to go inside. But when you're looking at those interior defensive and offensive line spots, like, I don't care what size school you came from. When we're talking about skill positions or a linebacker or safety spot, I do worry a little bit about the level of competition you played, because your stats are going to be inflated because the type of athlete you're going against are not as good. So that does worry me slightly with these types of more skill position type guys coming from those smaller levels. Whereas you give me a fucking lineman from a small school and I'm eating it up. I mean, Trevor Penning is gonna go in the first round. He's fucking Northern Iowa, just an absolute dickhead, and he's gonna go in the first round. But smaller school guys at skill positions do worry me slightly.
Yep. And then the other guy that I got here is JoJo Doman from Nebraska.
Oh, I don't have this guy.
So he's very interesting. So he played linebacker, was on the depth chart as a linebacker, but he actually played a lot in like that joker slot, big
like
safety type of guy.
A third safety spot.
Yeah, so he's 6'2", 226. So he's definitely a smaller, slight guy.
He's lean.
And trust me, he's lightning quick, but he is definitely more of a coverage type of linebacker than someone that you really want coming down in the run game. All right. So he played 428 snaps in the slot as like a slot cornerback type of guy in 2021, and compared to just 66 snaps in the box. And as a overhanging defender on the defensive line, he played 129 snaps, so he can get down in there. He is definitely that. He's a that weird tweener, that kind of joker position.
Doman.
Yep.
I found him a little bit.
Yep. So in coverage this last year, he only allowed 32 receptions for 179 yards. Pretty damn good in the coverage game. So is he going to be a linebacker in the NFL? Is he going to be a safety in the NFL? I think that he'll be transitioned more into that safety role, or he's going to have to play as a 4-3 outside linebacker for passing situations. He's a very interesting guy as a tweener, and because of that, he's going to be falling in the draft. So that's why I think. Do I think that he's a starter in the league? Probably not. Do I think that he's a rotational guy that you can get a lot of value out of, and a special teamer in the late rounds? I think that he could be an interesting dude.
If you get a team that knows how to use this kid, I'd be interested to see. So looking at some of his numbers, right? So I don't know shit about this kid. 6'1", so not real tall. 228 and 30 and 3/8 inch arms. Okay, so he's not big, he's not long. Now he's got a good vert. Okay, 34.5, good broad jump, 119. And this is a tweener in college, and he runs a 4.62. So it makes me a little worried. I have to turn on some Nebraska tape to see if this kid plays fast. But 4.62 for a safety is a little slow for me.
He's more quick than like good straight line speed. But what I did see from him was that he was definitely that more aggressive. He hangs on you kind of like glue. That's why I think that they use him in that slot position, because he's able to play more of a zone.
Well,
but,
you know what? So I'm reading his scouting report here. Undersized 4'3" linebacker, plays vengeful field demeanor and outstanding play length. Won't back down from a fight. Right. Former safety, handed big nickel duties in the slot. So I like a lot of the things that we're talking about. I like the toughness. I like and the negatives aren't too negative. Like, he's narrow in the back. I don't give a fuck. Like, he missed parts of seasons due to injury. Average speed. Not great laterally. Limits in man, and not great burst. But you can see that not great burst by the 4.62, right?
Yeah. And these are things he's going to be a late round guy. And
yeah, this is
if he had those numbers that jump off the tape like that, or if he's putting up 4.4 numbers and stuff like that, people are going to be talking about him a lot different. And that's why for me, he's a perfect type of sleeper. He's the guy you're going to get in the late rounds.
This looks like joke light.
Yeah. He's the type of guy that you're going to get in those late rounds that is going to be a solid contributor to your team, even if it's just on special teams.
This kid is going to have to find a way to get if he gets drafted to a team that understands how to use that third safety and does a lot of different packages, this kid could contribute. Probably not this year, 2-3 years from now. He'll be a special teamer for sure. This kid makes a team for sure as a special teamer, it looks like. As long as, especially if you're talking about a kid that is not backing down from a fight. Listen, you know what you call special teamers in the NFL? Fucking NFL players.
Yep.
I don't give a shit if you're a special teamer. You're still in the NFL. So that could be where this kid lands. I have not seen this kid. I'm going to have to go back and take a look and see if I can find some more information on him.
Yep. So, like I said, I think that, obviously he ain't a first-round pick. He ain't a big-name guy. He's someone that someone will get in a later round that will be a solid contributor, at least a special teamer.
Okay. All right. And then we're on to defensive backs, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got two groups to cover here, safeties and cornerbacks. So this is going to be a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let me pull this up. So we'll start here.
Corners or safeties first?
We can go corners first.
Okay.
All right. So again, going off PFF's list here, we'll just go through the top 5 on their list real quick. For cornerbacks, you got Derek Stingley Jr. from LSU, Trent McDuffie from Washington, Ahmad Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati, Andrew Booth from Clemson, and Kaiir Elam from Florida. All right. And their top 5, I'm not in agreement with. I think it's kind of shaken around a little bit.
So you didn't say Sauce Gardner's name first, so I was very confused as what was happening.
He's number 3 on their list. He's ranked number 9 on their overall big board. I think especially after Gardner's performance at the Combine.
What? So you said he's 3 on their list of corners, but 9 on their big board? They're saying there's 2 corners that are better, but they're better than fucking 8 other prospects?
That's what they have, yeah.
What were the names?
Of the guys on the big board?
No. Yeah, well, who's better than Sauce?
Derek Stingley Jr. and Trent McDuffie.
The kid from LSU, and who was the other one? Where is he from?
From Washington.
For fuck's sake. Okay, go ahead. Obviously, you can hear where I'm going with this.
Yep. So, and real quick, big board. We've got Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, Derek Stingley, Kayvon Thibodeau, Charles Cross, Ikem Ikwanu, Evan Neal, Trent McDuffie, Ahmad Gardner, and George Karlaftis as the top 10. Now, this big board is as of March 9th. I think it's a little outdated. And again, like I said, I don't agree with their overall rankings of quarterbacks here. I think that Sauce Gardner, especially after his performance at the Combine, has moved up to the number 1 cornerback spot. I think Derek Stingley was the number 1 cornerback in this group before that, but Stingley is definitely your boom or bust potential guy because of injury. He put on some of the best cornerback tape that we've seen in a long time a couple years ago, and then kind of fell flat mostly due to injuries. So if that talent is still there, I think that there's a lot to be had from Derek Stingley. I think that he's absolutely a guy that my Vikings could take with our number 12 pick, because I think that he'll still be around there. If Gardner is somehow still available, absolutely go after him. But he's only allowed 41.4% or 41.1% completion percentage in his career, and he's been starting since his freshman year. And again, that freshman year, he was lights out, easily best cornerback out there, one of the best cornerbacks in college, if not the best. But again, injury history and the past couple years have been a lot more bland. Is it because of that injury, or does he still have that talent? That's where you're going at with Derek Stingley. Trent McDuffie, like you said, weren't really in on him. I think that he's the number 3 guy, and he's 5'11". He plays bigger than that, but I still think he's more of a slot guy. He's only allowed 16 catches on 36 targets for 111 yards this past season, 5 pass breakups. Solid numbers playing there for Washington, but I think that he projects more to a slot guy in the NFL, and I'm looking for more of that outside cornerback. And that's what you're getting from an Ahmad Gardner. Well, Saucy Gardner, all right? So he didn't allow a single touchdown in his entire college career, and he's been starting since he was a true freshman, all right? In 2021, he only allowed 131 yards in 14 games. He is a true big-time lockdown corner. He's got the size that you want. He's got the speed that you want. People thought that he was going to be a little bit slower, and then his first 40 time at the Combine was kind of like, okay, this is what we expect. And second 40 time, fucking fast.
Yep,
and so,
real fucking fast.
So everyone was like, holy shit, okay, yeah, he's probably the number 1 on the board. So that's why I think that this PFF list, which written on January 7th, so it's a little bit outdated. I like Gardner as the number 1 cornerback in this group. I think that before it was Stingley, but with Gardner, the performance that he's had, Stingley's too much of a risk to be the number 1 guy. Gardner's my number 1. And then, like I said, Trent McDuffie, awesome. I think he projects to be a slot guy.
Yes, thank you. He's absolutely a slot corner.
So that lowers him a little bit for me personally.
Yeah, so the best defensive back in this entire draft, I don't care, regardless of position, is Sauce Gardner. The kid is so good. Like you said, he's been starting since he was a freshman. Has never allowed a touchdown. He is fucking 6'3".
You like him better than the number 1 safety we're going to talk about, Kyle Hamilton?
Yes, I do. I think Sauce is the best fucking defensive back in this draft, regardless of position. I would take Sauce Gardner over Hamilton, no problem. Like, he is, again, people were worried about he's a little lean. I'm not worried about him being lean. He doesn't allow fucking yards. He doesn't give up touchdowns. I get it. He's a little handsy. He's going to have to work on the technique a little bit at the pro level because rules are slightly different. But the sauce is, it's good. The sauce is good. He's easily, like, when you told me, like, when you started reading off names and Sauce Gardner didn't come out first, it's like, are you reading last year's list? Like, what's happening right now? And so for me, McDuffie he's a slot guy, right? That's I don't see it as anything more than that. Like, he could be a very good slot guy, but you don't draft a slot guy in the first round, 5'11". Like, that's tough for me. Like, I want physical guys who can cover and man. I need you to win your matchup every once in a while. I cannot play zone all of the time in the NFL because the quarterbacks are so fucking good that they will pick apart a zone. I need to be able to put you in man and let you just go and cover your fucking guy and win. So I don't want strictly zone corners. I don't want a slight guy playing on the edge. Trent McDuffie's a slot fucking guy. Sauce ran a 4.41. He's 6'3". I get it. He's been penalized a little bit. He needs to clean that up. But man, this kid is so fucking good. That's where I'm at. I don't know if I have any sleepers here. There's so many goddamn corners that I don't.
I do have one sleeper at cornerback that I'm going to be watching, but I have one sleeper for the defensive backs overall. So I think we can jump into the safeties and then we can go into. I don't know if you got any sleepers there for the safeties, but I got PFF's list up here also from January 7th.
Well, there's a guy I like because I had to watch him play a lot. Go ahead and break down the list.
All right, so number 1 on that list and number 2 on the big board, Kyle Hamilton, Golden Domer out of Notre Dame. Then you have Lewis Kine, I don't know how to say that name, from Georgia. Seeing a trend there with a lot of Georgia defenders in this,
they're very good
in this draft. Jaquan Brisker from Penn State, Kirby Joseph from Illinois, and Nick Cross from Maryland. Those are your top 5. And to me, I still think it's a little surprising that I think Sauce Gardner is the best defensive back in this draft. I think that Kyle Hamilton, don't get me wrong, I like Sauce Gardner a lot, but I think I'm putting Kyle Hamilton as number 1A and Gardner is number 1B.
As 1B? So listen, I don't dislike Hamilton. I'm not trying to detract from Hamilton. I think he is a very, very good player. Had great testing numbers, ton of production. This kid is big. He is 6'4", 220. That's a pretty big safety. Now I think he could probably add on 5-10 pounds, makes him play a little bit more to the liking of NFL coaches, a little bit bigger if we got to put him in the box. Because I think he will have to play in the box a little bit at the 4.59 that he ran.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kyle Hamilton in college was really good as a center fielder. Is he quick enough to play center field in the NFL? I don't know. And that's one of the things that worried me. Is I thought he would run a lot faster than he did.
Yeah, people are looking for reasons to knock him right now, and that is the knock
That's his
that he
biggest
has.
knock.
And I think it's because I think he's one of the better safety prospects that we've seen in a while as a good all-around safety. He can play in the box. He can cover as a kind of cornerback. He can actually single-man cover if he needs to. He can come down and stop the run. He does everything very, very well. I mean, he had some injuries at the end of the year. He's still, in the first 7 games, came up with 3 picks and 3 pass breakups. So he's a very dynamic, all-around good safety. I don't know that he needs to add the 5 to 10 like you're talking about, because I think that his mobility, even with the lack of that testing speed, I think that he needs to not pack on the weight to maintain that speed in order to be able to do all those things great at the next level.
Do you think that he can improve that speed? Like, because if he can't improve it, now he's got really, really good instincts. That's what gets him to where the positions he's in to make plays. He has really good instincts. But
I think he's Harrison Smith 2.0 out of Notre Dame.
All right.
And Harrison Smith isn't the fastest guy on the field either. But Harrison Smith can cover wide receivers. He can cover tight ends. He comes down. He plays on the line. He rushes. I think that he can do all that. And I think the reason why he's getting knocked some is because someone wants to take him up there in those first 5 picks. And if they're able to get him to drop a little bit, they can go after it.
That's too high for a safety. That's too high for a safety, right?
It can be.
5?
It can be. But I mean, I think that he's very special. I think that he absolutely could be up there.
Okay, so I'm not saying he's a bad player. Do I think he is as special as people are making out to be? Top 5, top. I've seen this kid projected as 3rd overall.
I've seen number 2.
I don't know if he's that good.
I've seen the him in some mocks going to the Lions.
Oh fuck! Get the fuck out of here! No, like that's too high. Like this kid's good, but he's
positional
not that
value.
Good.
Positional value. I think it probably is too high for a safety. In that respect, it's probably too high for a safety.
I would still take Sauce over Kyle. I would take Sauce over Kyle.
Me too, but that's because I need a cornerback.
Yeah.
I think he's easily a top 10 pick, and
yeah, for sure.
He could surprise and go top 5.
He's easily the best safety on the board. I'm not disputing that whatsoever. I think people are pumping this kid up a little too high. I think he's going to be very good. He'll be very productive. I think he projects more as a box safety, though, because his instincts are great. Don't get me wrong. His instincts are great.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. But, like, when you got to go against dudes that can manipulate a fucking defense, like some of these quarterbacks can, you better have telepathy for your instincts to make that big of a difference. That's tough for me. How have we not had one comment yet, by the way?
I don't know. No one wants to say what's up.
Struggling.
But yeah. So I mean, I like him. I think that he'll go top 10. I think he go top 5. I think if the right team falls in love with him,
I think he will go top 5 for sure. I think somebody's going to project him that high. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm taking Sauce over Kyle Hamilton. But I get it. I mean, especially if you play a scheme that has 3 safeties on the field, kid's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Easily the best safety in this draft. No question in my mind, best safety in the draft.
Yeah. And I really don't. I mean, other than obviously Georgia is putting out massive potential and seeing, another Georgia guy on there as their number 2 ranked guy. It's not surprising to me either. I really don't have much to say about the other guys on the board here because safety is one of those. I don't want to say safety is good for a failed or slow cornerback, but in a lot of ways it is. You have like the Vikings we drafted, who's now going to be our second safety out there next to Harrison Smith. We drafted this guy last year who was a cornerback in college at Cal and converted him into a safety, and he's looked very good at safety, where he was a middling cornerback. It's a spot where if you have you can find. To be a cornerback, you got to be a good cornerback. But to be a good safety, you could be a good safety, or you could be a failed reclamation kind of project. As
correct,
from
absolutely. You could be a failed corner and be a great safety.
Yeah, so there's more options, more ability to find a good starting safety in the NFL, especially later in the draft, than it is at cornerback. So for that, it kind of drops the value of safety a little bit in general. Yeah. Which is that's my biggest point with Kyle Hamilton is, do I think that he's outstanding? Yes. Do I think that he probably will go in the top 10, if not the top 5? Yes. Is it worth it over a Sauce Gardner? In that respect, I think Gardner's better. I think his positional value is much higher.
I also think he's a better player, in my opinion. But, I mean, I get it if people... Kyle Hamilton was very fucking productive. Very productive. So I get it. But I'm taking Sauce in every scenario. He's a better player. He's a better athlete. If he fails at corner, put him in safety. He'll be better than Kyle Hamilton.
Alrighty. So
I do have one guy, and I kind of alluded to this. Like one guy I had to watch quite a few times because Ohio State plays Iowa. Man, this Dane Belton is, for me, a sleeper. So I've watched him play. There are times where he kind of gets lost. He's a hybrid guy, right? He is one of those hybrid guys. He is fucking 6'1", 205. He is very, very slight. Those are corner numbers, right? 6'1", 205.
Yep.
I would like to see a little bit more size. So, when you go in, you look at the tape, you look at the fucking scattering report. One of his strengths is his physicality as a tackler. So the size has not played too much of a role. Really good against wide tight ends. Redirects routes. Like, this kid, I think, has a chance now. He's gonna be a day 3 pick probably. Not gonna excel as a high safety. Like, this kid is gonna be a box guy. Probably needs to put on a little bit of weight, but this is a huge leap because Dane is not who I'm talking about. But if you want to make a transition from safety, a strong safety, to a linebacker in the NFL, it's easily done. And Brian Urlacher is the prototype that does that. A dude that just will put his nose in a play, blow it up, what the hell's the brain injury?
CTE.
Yeah, fuck CTE. Dan's going to stick his fucking nose in there and make a play. He's not good in the back end. He's not. This is a Jamal Adams with better hands, but not as athletic. I mean, he's a decent athlete. He ran a 4.43, 36.5-inch vertical jump, 123-inch broad jump. Ran the fucking 7-second 3-cone, 4.24 20-yard shuttle. He basically did all the testing because he had to, because people want to see how he projects, right? Like, they want to know where this kid's going to go. He's a day 3 prospect, going to be a great special teamer for teams in the first year, and I think can get himself on the field and actually be a player at some point.
Okay. So my sleeper to watch is someone that people probably don't know again. His name is Brian Mills out of North Carolina Central. Small school, all right? He is a slight guy, slight of frame. He's 6'1", but only 174. He was 180,
Jesus,
180 at the Senior Bowl. Yep, 180 at the Senior Bowl. He's tall, long, very good with the press. He is not the type of guy that you want in the slot. He did pretty bad in the slot, actually, but as a press corner on the outside, was very good. He's aggressive, stuck on his receiver like glue as a press guy. Really aggressive with going after the ball. Good for fighting for the ball. He's just super raw. I mean, again, North Carolina Central. I don't want to denigrate them at all, but not the best coaching. He has NFL skills and talents and traits, but he doesn't have fundamentals or techniques. And that's the big problem right now. That you need to completely overhaul that for him if you want him to be a good corner. And I think that he could be a good press corner, probably a 4th or 5th round pick. You could see him become and develop up into like the number 2 cornerback on a team if he's able to put on a little bit of weight. But like, I like his physicality. I like 5 interceptions, 8 pass breakups back in 2019. He has good,
I love production.
Good leaps. He doesn't have good long speed, but he is quick initially and fast initially. So he and transitions well when turning to follow the receiver. It's just good press guy, needs to add some weight, like the aggressiveness, but he's a project.
So what makes me worried is the not good long speed. What was this kid's name again?
Brian Mills.
Brian Mills.
And he was not at the combine.
Yeah, I don't think it was at the combine. Yeah.
Nope.
If we're worried about not good long speed and him putting on weight, that's worrisome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this a kid that you think transitions to safety?
I mean, he's not heavy enough. He's got to put on a lot of weight for that. And I don't know that he's necessarily that physical tackler either.
As a free? Could he play
to me,
free?
I mean, as long as you're cool with him just being in coverage. He's got good ball skills. He's got good vision. He lacks the fundamentals.
This is the guy you bring in on 3rd down. You put him back as a Like this.
And you don't put him on your vertical guy. You don't put him on a Deshaun Jackson or something like that. Like you're not having him go up against the speed guy, but as a press corner, number 2
playing out
corner,
of the slot. Maybe this is his guy. This is his spot, right?
He's bad in the slot. He's
yeah,
good as an outside press corner. He's bad in the slot.
How the fuck is he not good long speed and can't play in the goddamn slot?
That's the thing, is that he will get burned by those faster guys. He can get burned by those faster guys, but that's why he's good as a press guy. He's able to come up, create that collision in the initial, and then that first, like he's a 15 to 20 yard guy. If you're going beyond that, he can get burned.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to be with you on your sleeper guy. Just you're not selling me on him. I gotta go back and look at this.
I think that because not every outside cornerback in the league is going to be able to keep up with those vertical burners.
No.
And that, like I said, that's why he's not a first round guy or something like that. That's why I'm seeing him 4th, 5th, or later. I like his press skills. I like some of that NFL trait and talent. And then I believe that if you get him good coaching, good technique and fundamentals, that he can be a solid number 2 or number 3, a backup cornerback in this league, which you can never have enough cornerbacks with this being a passing league.
Trust me, as a Browns fan, I know that you can never have enough fucking corners.
And I like aggressive press man corners. That's the type of corner that I like over zone guys.
That's why I like Denzel Ward.
Yep. So he might not have the speed to keep up with the burners, but I think that he can be a solid number 2 guy. He's going to go against your second best receiver on the field type thing, who isn't necessarily that super burner speed guy.
All right.
And again, 4th, 5th round or later guy, if you're able to develop him to be a number 2.
We're talking sleepers. I'm talking earliest 3rd round and back.
Yeah.
1st round, I expect to be a starter. 2nd round, in my opinion, I expect that to be a starter as well. 1st and 2nd round, you have to hit on because you want those to be starters. 3rd round is where we get rotational guys. 4th round, rotational. 5th round, we're fighting for roster spots to improve depth. And then beyond that, I mean, that's all it is. We're fighting for depth.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking about a sleeper, I'm talking 3rd round and later. So, yeah, I mean, I could maybe, yeah. I got to look at this kid because when you brought him up, I was like, I have no idea who the fuck you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm trying to get those more obscure guys that you might end up hearing their name a little bit more in the league.
All right. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like it. I mean, most of my sleepers have been somewhere in the, well, when we started talking about a couple of my sleepers, they were fucking 5th, 6th round. Austin out of Memphis, he is blowing up into looks like a 3rd round now, which is still surprising to me because how small he is as a receiver. But like, listen, I am not a pro scout. Neither are you. But if we're seeing some of these things, some of these other guys are seeing that shit too. Like these guys who get paid to scout people are seeing that shit as well. I'm gonna check out your boy though.
Yep.
See if he can play.
HBCU, by the way, Brian Mills. So I think that probably wraps it up there for.
That is going to wrap it up, I believe. The only other news I have is that the Blue Jays want to rip me of all of my fanhood of the Guardians. I don't even actually have any real fanhood of the Guardians. I'm a big fan of the previous organization and have not watched this team play a game. Actually, I watched one. I watched one spring training game, and we looked terrible. But the Blue Jays are pushing real hard for Jose Ramirez. He will probably get traded because the Guardians ownership sucks ass. And I'm going to be very, very, very sad. Like, we were so good for so long. Like, as soon as we hired... I just forgot. How the fuck did I just forget our coach's name? Terry Francona. I remembered. As soon as we hired Terry Francona, like I was like, we're going to win World Series. He's going to bring us a World Series. He was very, very close. We were up 3-1, and then we lost 3 straight. Like, this Guardians and prior organization should have won a goddamn World Series, and now we're just going into full-on tank mode. We're going back to early fucking 90s before Jim Tomey and Manny Ramirez, and I'm not happy about it.
Well, once you hit the basement, there's only one place to go, right?
Up. I mean, we say that.
Trying to stay positive.
How deep does the basement go?
I don't know. The Jets are working on figuring that out for us.
Yes, they are, especially if they keep fucking paying people to not get the ball thrown to them accurately by Zach Wilson. You still suck, Zach Wilson.
Alrighty.
Okay, we'll get out of here.
Yep. Well, everybody, I think that is it for the day. This has been the 68th episode, which means the
68th.
next episode is 69.
Yeah, so the next episode is 69. So everybody who listens on Facebook, YouTube, all that, thank you very much. If you also download the podcast so you can take it with you wherever you go. We are very much behind because, well, I've been constantly moving around, changing the setup. I'm going to leave this up tonight. I'm going to get some episodes uploaded to the podcast only platforms. Our last episode that got uploaded on Buzzsprout was number 64. So I have got 4 episodes to upload, get loaded for you guys. That is going to happen tonight. I'm going to, progressively work through that. Sorry that, the show's going through, changes, massive changes, being in the separate locations. I'm fucking leaving. But regardless, you guys rock. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do, all your input, all your help. We had at one point we had like 10 live viewers. No comments though. Nobody hopped in here. Guys, we want your comments. We want the interaction on social. We want it in here. I'm pretty sure producer Amber made a new TikTok today for the Lineman Lounge Drink of the Week. So
I saw at least a post about it on Twitter.
Yeah. So I think it went up. I think it went to TikTok. It might have gone to Twitter and the Facebook. But guys, I thank you for everything you do. Evo, give the people one last word.
Penis.
There we go.
That's my last word.
I meant like say goodbye, but
we're
running on penis.
That's my word of the day. Thank you all for watching the Lineman Lounge. It has been a great episode for us. Hopefully y'all like it. Let us know what you think of the show. Like, comment, subscribe. It helps us out. Thanks. Upcoming here the next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope we get a lot of interaction because we're going to do these mock drafts. So looking forward to that. So y'all have a good rest of your weekend. Thank you for watching the Lineman Lounge. See ya.
Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional. Strap in.